if I was like, FBI or something, I walked in here and I probably would ask some questions.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
Well, I mean, we tell
you
her.
live here too?
Yeah, I live in the room.
No, you don't. Come on.
No, I'm in Koreatown, but we tell our listeners that we're in a bunker.
Is that dumbfounded? Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like he's become a fan of mine as of late. You've known him for a long time, huh? Dumbfounded?
Yeah.
I just become like,
What?
he was at the store the other night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you mean?
I think it's cool.
Cool
I like that.
Cool what?
Cool that he likes my comedy.
Does he?
He doesn't?
He does.
Oh, he
Did
does?
you do a show? Have you done a show yet?
You
yeah,
did
that's
it.
why.
You did it at Cry Later, right? In K-Town.
I did it a couple weeks ago, yeah.
Did you like it?
It was my birthday that day, and a bunch of special people showed up.
Tell him who came to your birthday, Bobby.
Tell the
people
at
who
the
came.
dinner or at the show?
Oh, well, let's go for both.
Well, at the dinner, my agent and my manager, it's not big. My manager and my agent.
Oh, that's it?
Well, then I had Andrew Santino because he was on.
Sure.
We have a podcast together. We have the heavy one.
Oh, wait, who's the heavy one?
With the glasses.
Okay.
What's his name?
What's
his name?
How funny. You're making me be the one insulting him. You're the one.
Heavy one. What's his name?
Eric.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
And then we had who else was there? I had more producery kind of people.
I heard Aquafino's there.
No. So at my dinner, it was Sterling Harjo.
Mm-hmm.
He created Reservation Dogs. And then I had Gene Hong. He produces Magnum PI. Brandon Dermer, I did a show with him once. What would Diplo do?
Oh, yeah, he's there.
Yeah, created that. And then I had couple Hollywood people. Like, I don't know if you would call Michael Rosenbaum Hollywood.
Sure.
Do you know who he is?
No, I've heard the name.
He was on Smallville.
Lex Luthor.
Played Lex Luthor on Smallville.
Okay.
And then Gina Gershon showed up. David Cho was there, the artist.
I want to ask
Hello.
Tom
Bonnet showed up a little bit.
Oh.
And then afterwards, the show, I went right down the street. And at the show, Aquafina was there. And she goes, I'm going to bring you up. You know what I mean? And so she brought me up. I also hung out with Benedict Wong. Do you know who that is?
No.
He was in Doctor Strange.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the thick Asian guy.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
So Benedict Wong was there.
He was in he made a small cameo in Top Boy. Do you guys watch that British show, Top
No.
Boy?
But he's British, though.
Oh, okay. Makes
Yeah.
sense then.
And then, who else was there? And a couple of other actors. And I don't know.
Did you come to the store afterwards? Did I bring you up on your birthday? Was it like you
think I
did the
went to the
Cry
store
Later
afterwards.
and then?
Yeah, I went to the store afterwards, and it was a magical evening.
Yeah.
And then the next day I went into I think I'm still in it, a deep depression.
Why?
I think I'm having a midlife. I think I'm having a mid. Let me say it, okay?
Sure.
I think I'm having a midlife crisis. Yeah, and it's just a depression, like a deep depression. I can't even pinpoint. I think it has to do with my age. I mean, 50 is a big number.
Yeah.
Yeah, I equate it to like.
But it's so strange about comedy. I don't even view you as a 50-year-old person. You know what I mean? Do you feel that way when you're at the Comedy Store or some of these places?
Oh, yeah.
We're almost just like souls floating around a building. Like, I don't look at Dean Del Rey as like.
You should. He's old.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
we just look at people as like comedy entities. Like, I don't really look at their physical vessel.
Maybe you're right. Yeah, maybe you're right. You ever watch the Olympics and the marathon?
The what?
The marathon runners in the Olympics.
Yeah.
The last thing is what? Into the stadium? You know how they do the streets?
Yeah.
And then the last, that's where I'm at. 50 is when you enter the stadium as a marathon runner. And you see the finish line. So you're like not done, but you can see it. And, just one more little circle around, regardless of what place I'm in. So that's what it feels like. I'm at the last.
I know what you're saying, but
You're 12. How old are you?
No, I'm 37.
Yeah, you're a baby.
Comparatively, but you could do this with everything. But don't you feel like had you chosen a more button up and say traditional type of role that like
What do you mean?
immigrant children are supposed to adhere to, because you are off the beaten path, the career that you've chosen with comedy and all that. Imagine your type of 50 if you had an office job.
Oh, I would.
That'd be like way more depressing, I would believe.
I would not look like who I don't look like. I would probably have receding hair. Number one. Number two, I'd probably say the word okie dokie a lot. You know what I mean? Like, hey, is the file in? You do the okie dokie. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm that guy. I'd probably do a lot of like, I'd probably be at a desk and I had to stand up a lot and just kind of stretch my back out.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, oh.
You have like a foam roller and shit?
Yeah. And then I would probably have to like plan. What's cool about the job that I have now is that, and I think it's good and bad. It's like, you know, since the last year I've been in Hawaii maybe 4 times.
For Magnum?
For Magnum, but it's like a vacation. It's like, you know, I'll work a couple of days and they'll go, you have 5 days off. You know what I mean? And I just do whatever in Hawaii, eat acai bowls and like tan and shop and stuff and eat. You know what I mean? And so since everything's like a vacation to me, like everything that I do is like when you go on the road, it's kind of a vacation. You work at night and you're in a different city. You got flown there for free. You're staying in a hotel room for free. You know what I mean? And it's like, so there is no vacation for me. So it's like, it doesn't seem that like, you know, so if I was not doing this as a living, I would be like, oh, August 2023, we're going to fucking Oahu.
And you have like a week to live. You know what I mean? Like a week to feel like a human.
Yeah.
Before you go back into your
and then you
submarine.
You probably look at the calendar and go, 9 months away. Right?
Yeah.
And then when you get there, it's like, great, probably. But I don't live like that.
But then it's over like that.
I know, but you have something to look forward to. We'll go to Tulum 3 years from now. And you have to save up all your money. Oh, that must be terrible, though.
Yeah.
Does it sound terrible?
It does sound terrible. Well, I had a taste of it when I was working at Boeing. It was all that. It was like living for tomorrow. I would look at the clock and wait till I got out so I can drive to Hollywood and like do the dream, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it is like we were playing dice with this career because it's in the beginning. It's like there's no way you think you're gonna ever make a living because it's just so grim at the open mic level, especially like imagine the very beginning. You don't know anybody. A zero.
Yeah.
My parents have no association with show business. I don't know how it works. You just show up at some dingy club. You sign your name up. You wait 8 hours. And then you're up at 1:45 in the morning. You get 3 minutes, no audience. You get off, no one says anything. And then you get in your car and you're like, how do you make it? Like, this is insane. How do you do this?
Yeah. Do you ever think about if you knew what you knew now and you transported in the young you, would you even go down the path? It's almost like you needed that delusion. You needed to not know to even carry on that path.
No, I was a scandalous piece of shit in the beginning. Because I didn't know how it really worked, I thought that you had to like rip and stab and blackmail.
It kind of was in the 90s, though. It was a very different philosophy than now with the podcasting boom and everything.
Oh, yeah.
And I think comics have really embraced the fuck Hollywood and the gatekeepers. It's like, we're doing it. We're raising each other up. And that's how the whole podcasting ecosystem kind of works.
But it's still, I mean, you can't just show up out of nowhere, though, and get to this level. It's like, you know, I had to create street credibility in the comedy game for even to get huge people to do my podcast, right? Like, how do you get Dice Clay at your house? I just had Howie Mandel. How do you get these people? You have to amass all that credibility and relationship with these people. Yeah. Right? So it's like, you can't just jump into it. You still have to do the fucking shitty groundwork.
Sure, but even the younger comics nowadays, I think, have this philosophy because they see it with all the podcasts with like Rogan having, you know, other comics on and Tiger Belly and just everyone helping each other.
Let me steer it. We'll go back to this, but let me just steer it a different direction. Sure. All right? Have you had bisexual experiences, either one of you? No. Are you traditional heterosexual?
Yes, very.
Well, why'd you answer so quickly? Think about it.
I've thought about it.
I mean, it was just like, are you traditionally like, yes, for you know what I mean? It's like, think about it.
I've thought about it.
Yeah.
I was like, would I? No, I wouldn't.
Yeah.
I give some
in any circumstance.
Yeah.
Really?
I mean, what circumstances do you believe there'd be?
Yeah,
an exception
how many multiple circumstances?
Well, there's hypothetical fantasy for circumstances, like, you know, let's just create something right now, right? So let's suppose meteor from a different galaxy.
Uh-huh.
It comes whizzing toward the Earth, all right? And there's
Organisms?
microorganisms, right, that aren't, you know what I mean, privy to our Earth. They're unknown elements, right? It lands, right? You and I, right?
Yeah.
You and I are, you know, in the Philippines, there's 8,000 islands.
Wow.
Yeah, did you know that? And then you and I, right? What's your name again?
Ali.
That's right. So you're not in this, Ellie, right? I go, Ellie, let's take one of these little boats and go to the island.
Okay.
On one of these islands, and you go, okay. You'd say yes immediately, right?
Why not?
So
I have no reason to say no.
exactly.
Yeah.
Bingo. Right. Okie dokie.
Okie dokie.
And so we're on the island, right? And one of these meteors hits. What are the odds? I mean, there's so much ocean, right?
Yeah.
And just one of these, a piece of meteor hits, right, with these organisms, and immediately it, you know, when our atmosphere and this it does something to the organism, and it turns into like this little worm, not little worm, but about this big, right? And it's got like a little mouth and little teeth, right? Just hear me out.
I'm seeing where this goes.
All right. And for some reason, you and I are sunbathing naked, but not in a heterosexual way.
Okay.
Ali.
Okay.
Do you see that happening or no?
I still us sunbathing in a non-hetero way.
Yeah, but it's also what. There's no one on the island. It's just us two.
Sure, I guess. I mean,
There's
like
nothing to think about.
But there is no way you can just sunbathing is sunbathing. But sure, okay, yeah. And in this scenario,
No, you're not in the scenario. I want your real reaction. It's like if we get to the fucking island, right? Forget the meteor for a second. All right.
But I also love how specific this scenario is.
Do you
And
feel left
it's just
out?
a
It can be three
hypothetical.
guys.
No. I don't want to be a bisexual third wheel.
All right. So, just imagine.
okay,
We're on an island. And I'm like, you know, because you know how people say, you know, they say sunlight, when you tan your asshole, it's good for your body.
I've seen the headlines on Twitter. Yeah,
Right. So, you know, we don't have internet access there probably. But
Okay.
you know what I mean? I say to you, it's really good for your body, man. And it's like, you can be like on the other side of this little island.
yeah.
But let's just do it naked. Would you, honestly, would you do it?
Probably not.
Why?
I just don't feel the need to.
All right, forget it.
If you're like
You can keep your trunks on.
Okay.
I'm all right. I'm naked though.
Okay.
Meteor, right?
Yeah.
Little worm, right? And you just hear something in the middle of the island. Shut the fuck up.
This is funny.
You know what I mean? Like just a noise. Right?
Okay.
Right. You're scared now because you now run, right?
Oh yeah.
And I'm
Of
still
course.
I'm naked there, right? And you would probably say something. What would you say? You think? What's that noise?
Yeah, did you hear that?
Yeah, I'd be like, no, man. I have my fucking iPod EarPod Pro.
Okay.
I have my EarPod Pros on. I'm listening to Kenny G.
Yeah.
You know, I'm like,
Of
right?
course. What you would
not
listen to.
Kenny G. Let's say like a Dolly Parton.
Okay.
Okay.
Right. And then I take them out and I go, would you hear something? Mm-hmm. And then would you say?
Oh yeah. I heard something from the center of the island.
Oh fuck! I just heard it too. Right? As I stand up, it just like bolts for my dick. Right? You could just in the and it has little eyes, right?
Yeah.
And in the eyes, they're bloodshot.
Ooh.
Right? Big eye, imagine big eyes, bloodshot, right? And like for some reason, I'm like half erect. Just hear me out.
Okay.
All right. It bites my dick. right?
Ouch.
And then it slowly dies once it bites it.
Like a bumblebee or something.
Yeah, but it speaks English.
That's convenient.
It's convenient, yeah.
From
but
space?
From space, right?
Does it say anything?
Yeah, it does.
What does it say?
It goes, in order for you to survive, he's got to suck out. He's going to suck out. And he dies. Right?
So before you get to your question, I'd let you die.
What do you mean? No, I'm not. I'm not even there yet.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
But before you get there.
I'm not going to get there.
All right, okay.
That's so fucking rude, by the way. That's so fucking rude, by the way.
I apologize, but I feel like I want to save you the time.
I know, but I'm just saying that let's argue this. That I would probably point and go, you heard him.
Yeah.
Right? And you would go,
It was really nice knowing you, Bobby. Where'd the keys to the boat?
It's a rowboat. You know.
Oh,
It's a
well,
we rowed here. Right?
I'll row you to the, you know,
You know what?
I'll find you
it's so funny, Ali.
I'll find you a sex worker on the island.
It's so funny, Ali. You know, it's like I don't know you.
No, yeah, we don't.
Right,
yeah,
right,
we don't know.
and that tells a lot about the way our relationship is going to go from here on forward. Right?
Okay.
It's rude.
That you wouldn't
It's
get naked
straight
on an island
up
together.
fucking rude.
Okay,
That
okay.
you would let me die on a fucking island.
Well, I'd row you to the mainland.
I'm dead already.
Oh, well.
Yeah, yeah. You have to suck it out now.
Yeah, no,
All right?
I'm sorry.
What would you do?
I wouldn't do it either.
What? Let me say this right now for your audience, right? I would suck the venom, the alien venom, out of both of your dicks.
Oh, thank you.
That's very nice.
Okay.
Thank you.
And you know why?
Why?
I'm a good person. It has nothing to do with sexuality,
Sure.
right? Or me being fluid, or you know what I mean.
Yeah.
It's just I'm a good guy,
Yeah.
and you guys are not good guys.
We gotta look inward after this.
What do you mean?
I'm okay with it.
We
Are you really?
I don't have the moral dilemma.
You don't have a dilemma? Do you have a dilemma?
no, not
You
really.
let
Yeah,
one of
yeah.
your closest friends
Suck your dick.
no
No,
die.
you're not. That's where you're getting it wrong. Hello, hello. This is where you're. Hello. This is where you're both getting it wrong.
Sure.
All right. It's not sexual, right? It's a medical emergency.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Oh, that's like totally different. then.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Oh, you should have like prefaced it with that.
yeah, exactly.
But what
right?
now that you frame it like
yeah,
that?
yeah.
No, yeah. It's still
So
like,
let's go back to comedy. So
Back to
what
comedy
in the
shit.
beginning? Yeah.
So question like,
How about this? We'll do this from now on,
What?
right? I'll let you steer it your way.
Yeah.
So we'll do a couple of minutes on what, right? But I get to steer it in my insane way.
It's fair.
Like a one for you, one for
Yeah,
us.
yeah. You know, it's like, you know what, Clarice. You know, remember Clarice and Hannibal Lecter?
Well, I have a question.
Go
All
ahead.
right, go on.
You're talking about open mics and getting up and eating shit and driving back.
Yeah.
Do you remember your first experience going up and the jokes that you had and
Yeah.
and
The
what? I'm sorry. And the follow up is what? I'm sorry. Are you,
No, I'm
Okay.
that I closed my eyes when I listened.
and the second is what brought you back the next day?
You done?
And the third follow up question is
Okay. So for me, and this is real, at that time of my life, I literally had nothing. Like, no future. Like, in terms of, like, I didn't go to college. I'm not really that hard of a worker manually. I do it. I've done it in jobs because they've made me. I'm also not one of those guys that's like, oh, I have this business idea. You know what I mean? What if I do that? You know what I mean? I just don't have the means or the, you know. So I just, you know, I'm smart enough to know, okay, this is the trajectory of my life. It's not going to end well. I'd have to rely on, like, my relatives and do their businesses, like, you know what I mean? And work in some warehouse. I don't know. And so when you're there at 23, also no pussy, like zero, not even a shot at anybody. Okay, nobody liked me. Okay, I was an incel. What's so funny?
It's just a funny term. And for one to call themselves an incel is
Yeah.
kind of
the
funny.
self awareness.
Yeah.
I didn't. Well, there was no term for it back then in the
Okay.
90s. But now that I know the definition, I definitely was one. You know, I was a guy that desired women to like me, and nobody did. And I just didn't have anything to give. And so when I did so the first time I went up was this coffee shop called Thomas Paine Coffee Shop in San Diego. And I had met this guy named Randy. He was older, Jewy. He kind of had I shouldn't say Jewy.
No, I think that's a term you can,
Okay, he was Jewish.
because it's meant with love.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he had one of those, like, he would wear one of those, like, you know, circular John Lennon-y piece glasses, but, like, not tinted, like, so we could see.
Yeah.
Sure.
Right? And he was balding, you know what I mean? And so imagine that guy,
Yeah.
okay? And I met him at improv class, and he goes, I'm going to this coffee shop tonight. I'm going to do it. He goes, I'm going to do stand-up. And he goes, and I was like, oh, I want to see this guy, Randy Baum. So I went to Thomas Paine, And he went up, and I was my job. He bombed, but it wasn't that. It was the idea that he just did it. Right? That was like, I was so proud of him, and then also jealous almost in a weird way. Like, God, I wish I had the bravery. And then some host walked up and said, and the next guy is he says my name, and Randy had signed me up.
Oh shit!
Right. So without even thinking about it, I went, and I had always kind of thought of it like bits, I guess, you know what I mean? Just kind of driving around or thinking it late at night, And I had this one joke where I can tell you what it was. It was something about LSD, and I used to drop acid, and when you're on acid, you think you're doing one thing, but you're doing something entirely different. And I go, you think you're walking like this, right? So I start walking kind of normal. Yeah. But you're really walking like this, and I do this really weird walk. Kind of got a laugh, you know what I mean? I think that was the only joke I had. And then I got off, and Randy got a laugh, and Randy goes, "Proud of you, man." You know what I mean? And I think I caught the bug that night, because I was like, I remember getting a little laugh. But it wasn't just that, though. It was the adrenaline. You know, the adrenaline when you get off?
Yeah.
And you're like, what just happened?
Yeah.
Oh my God, I did it. That kind of feeling. And I never felt that way before about anything. So I just started doing open mics with Randy for the first couple of weeks. Then he stopped doing it. And I met this guy and then I went to the Comedy Store, did the open mic there. And I met a kid named Jonathan Gottsick, who was a paid regular. Mm-hmm. He quit though. Mm-hmm. But Jonathan and I started together. He was so funny, this guy. And that's how it started.
That's so crazy. So did you ever express that you wanted to do stand-up to this guy, or he just signed you up?
I think we had talked about it, but it was like, I don't think it was ever going to... Because I used to work at a place called Disc Cafe that was attached to the La Jolla Comedy Store. It's now like either a phone store or a mattress store right there on the corner. Mm-hmm. And that used to be a coffee shop. I used to work there. So I used to sneak into the Comedy Store to watch open mics. And then they would come over for change and stuff, like if they had to break down some sort of denomination or whatever. We were always, we worked, we're two businesses that worked hand in hand with each other. So I knew the manager there and all that stuff. So it's like, it wasn't unfamiliar to me. But when I remember going to the Comedy Store, meeting Jonathan, and then immediately Fred goes, because he knew that the coffee shop had closed. It closed, and he goes, "You want a job here?" I got a job there as a bar back and like kind of janitorial. And then 6 months later, they had this system where if you worked at the door, you could, on a Saturday night, you could host for 5 minutes, like open up the room. And so we would get headliners come in, mm-hmm. and I would do 5 minutes before them. And that's where two vital people that really changed the trajectory of where I was going to go. I met Paulie headlined once, and Carlos Mencia headlined once. Both of them had seen me do the 5 minutes, and they liked me, mm-hmm. right? And it became my introduction to opening with them on the road in the next couple of years. But it was first Paulie. Paulie called me, and he goes, I had been doing comedy for like 9 months, and he goes, "Oh, dude, I want you to open for me in Vegas." And I'd only done open mics. I'd only done like 10 people. So I didn't think I'd invited. He flew me out there. I couldn't believe it. He got me a hotel room. I couldn't fucking believe it. And then when I went to the venue, I got super scared because it was 5,000 seats.
That's fucking crazy to go from 10 people open mic to that many people.
Crazy. And then I got threatened. So the guy that was the talent coordinator for the Riviera at the time was a guy named Steve Sharippa. Mm-hmm. Steve Sharippa was on the show The Sopranos later on, right? And became an actor. But back then, there was rumors about him that he was tied to the mob, which I think he was. Mm-hmm. And he was like a big Italian guy with the gold, the whole thing. He goes, "Hey kid, if you do 4 minutes, I'll break your legs. If you do 6 minutes, I'll break your legs. You do 5 minutes." That's what he said to me. And then here's the third thing that happened that was scary. Polly goes, "Dude, I didn't want her to come, but she's here." I go, "Who?" "My mom. Mitzi Shore was there."
And
Okay.
you knew how
That's wild.
important she was at the time.
Oh yeah. I mean, at that point, I knew the history of it all. I knew who she was and stuff. And I go, and I meet her. She comes up to me. She goes, "Who are you?" And I go, "Open micer, in La Jolla." He goes, "Don't fuck it up," or whatever. And then I went up there, and it was a blur. I don't know what I did, but I remember afterwards, her coming up to me afterwards, and she says just one thing to me. She goes, "You're a paid regular."
Whoa.
Wow.
That's how I got in. And then when I got back into La Jolla, I was public enemy number one.
Everyone hated you.
Yeah.
Because it was so fast.
So fast. And it's also, I do Weasley things like get to know the headliners and get, what I mean? It wasn't like out of the blue. I had this quick pro quo.
So how fast would you say from when you started to when you got
I'm
past?
not going to answer that until it's my turn now.
Oh, come on. I like this path that we're on. Please, I have all these questions and shit. Like
I know, but
we see that version of you so much. I love
This
getting.
is
I
gems.
love getting to know this.
But the thing is that you get scared when I talk about this kind of stuff.
No, we could do
Yeah,
it on yours or whatever, but this is let me steer the ship on this because I think this is like a deeper level of Bobby that we don't get to hear on other podcasts. One question for you: like as of late, you've been doing more.
Oh, Chad, what the fuck? Go back to the thing in the past.
What, the past?
Yeah.
Well, it's gonna tie into that.
All right.
The thing is, why no special?
See,
Why no
I wanted to
stand-up
do
special?
mine.
What?
What was my question to you?
No, I mean,
I
you want
know.
to do the quid pro quo?
Yeah.
Just let us ask our shit.
How about if
I'm actually interested.
How about if I do a quick pro quo that's not sexual?
All right.
I think that's what you're afraid of. Is that what you're afraid of?
No, it's just like it's just gonna tail into.
I'll keep a register of where we were.
Uh-huh.
So when we come back, we can go right back into this.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So let's suppose I come to you guys and I go, "Hey guys, I have a ticket to China, right? To you guys." And I go, because every year I go to the Yulin Festival.
What is that?
It's just a Yulin Festival.
What?
I just tell them that's an actual festival.
But like what?
What happens?
Well, I'm going to
there?
tell you.
Okay.
So if I said that right off the bat and I go, "Don't, you can't Google it," would you go?
To the Yulin Festival.
Yeah.
I'm definitely Googling. I don't go to festivals that I have no idea about.
All right, you can Google it. So I'll tell you what it is.
Sure.
Right. It's their infamous dog eating festival.
What if I go? I'll go, but what breed? Like I'm very particular.
Yeah. But if I took you there, right, would you partake in it or would you, you know what I mean?
I think that's one of those things where even if you were curious to do it,
Yeah.
if word ever got out that you did,
Oh, yeah.
your life is over. You're not coming back from eating dog.
From where?
Celebrity or like any people get canceled for much less. You think they're
The
like,
social justice system of the internet.
That's interesting. I never thought of it that way.
you think it'd be like, I just thought it was okay to eat dog. I mean, that was in the past. I've grown. I don't eat dog anymore.
Well, that's why I told you not to Google it.
So then I could be like, look, I just thought I was eating turkey. Bobby,
Yeah,
Bobby didn't tell me where this meat came from.
Yeah. Okay, well that's a fair enough question.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wouldn't eat it either.
I
You know
read,
what I would do?
What?
I would be like, we're here to espionage. We're gonna free these animals. Would you do that?
But what if you're like your intent is to free the animals,
Yeah.
but you have to play the part, but then it's so delicious that you stick around for the whole festival. You go,
Right.
let's wait for the next course,
Yeah.
and then we'll let them out.
Or we break one of them out of the cage. It jumps on you, licks your face, and you go, and you get a taste of it, and you go, "Oh, yum."
We've talked about this.
Then it's like
that's,
then
that
it's
tasted
like
yummy.
then it's like sushi.
Yeah. Okay, now go back to yours now.
All right. So how come no stand-up special? Have you ever had a desire to do it?
Yeah, I have, but it's a question that people ask me all the time, and it's like, a couple of years ago, I had my agent reach out to Netflix and go, "Bobby's interested in doing a special," and they offered. Then my agent called me back and they go, "Well, they'll consider you for this 15-minute one."
No.
Yeah.
For the 15?
Yeah. So I go, yeah, it's and also when I go to Netflix, no one knows who the fuck I am. You know,
I find that so hard to believe.
I mean, I'm like, it's a legitimate like fact because I've been in rooms with people I've gone in with, and then they've had to educate them in the room about who I am, right? So there's no, you know what I mean? There's no desire, there's no excitement, right? And I think, and I'm gonna sound so fucking bad right now, but it's like, I know what I've done.
Mm-hmm.
I know how good I am. I know what I can offer, and I'm not going to take a deal, right, or be in a situation with people that aren't excited to have me, right? If a company said we'll give you a couple million to do one, I'll do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's how I think I deserve what I deserve. You know, I sell out every city in America, right? Imagine that I sell out every city without ever doing a fucking special. You know what I mean? So it's like, and also I do A-list acting projects.
Mm-hmm.
I have 2 podcasts that are like in the top, 50 podcasts in the world. You know what I mean? So it's like, I don't, if I'm trying new stuff now, and some of these younger guys like Andrew Schultz and like Shane Gillis and people are going, Mark Norman, do it on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
So I might end up doing that. You know what I mean? But I'm in no rush to do it.
Yeah, you don't need it at all. You do so many different things. That successful podcast and the acting and all that.
Yeah.
So you don't need to do a special. But I was just curious if like you ever wanted to.
No, because I've been in rooms and it's like there's just no excitement about me, and it's like which is I don't take it personally either. I get it. You know. I get it.
Is the thought like, look, if there's not any excitement, I'm not going to force feed this special down your throat?
It's also that's one thing, but here's the second thing I think maybe even closer to the truth is a fear. You know what I mean? That it's been so long now, and everyone wants it so bad that it's not. If I'm afraid to fail or not have put out a special that meets people's expectations. Because I know, I'm not going to name names, I know comics that I'm friends with that are podcast people that put up specials and they just get ripped apart because they put it out too soon or it wasn't good enough or whatever. And I don't think my fragile ego right now, I'm not confident enough to go, I got the fucking hour that's going to be the best, this is the best. And I want to get to that point. So I'm trying newer things on stage. I came up with 2 new things today. You know what I mean? I'm going to try tomorrow. My point is that I'll get there, but it's like I don't really. If I was poor and I needed the money, that's one thing, but I don't need it.
Yeah.
So there's no urgency. And also, maybe if I did a special, it would be the one thing that pushes me. Because there's a couple of projects that I've like come down to the wire to between me and so-and-so. And they always go with so-and-so. Maybe a special would be the thing that's going to push me over, right? But, but then again, I'm on a couple of things here right now. I sold a show to ABC. I have another show that I want to go out with. Things seem to be really good. So it's like, I understand it's not a concern. Is it concern?
No, not concerned. Just because I would think that it's a foregone conclusion that you would have one because you've been in the comedy game for so long.
I mean, you did one for CISO, right? And let me just say something, right? Right, that if the company, right, that you're doing it for doesn't have the enthusiasm, right, they're not going to promote it.
Yeah.
Right? If it's not if it's not a streaming platform that's popular like Netflix or HBO Max or whatever, right?
Yeah.
It's almost as like it could disappear in the
for
shuffle,
sure,
right? So my point is that why can't I wait? I think I'm A-list.
Oh, you.
I do. I think I am. I might not be, but I believe I am. You know what I mean? I do all the 8 rooms. I'm a regular at every club in America.
Yeah, you can be picky. You're in no rush to put out a special unless it's in terms that you want, I would say.
Yeah, but then again, it's like I struggle with it, But I don't know, man. Quick pro quo?
No, I want to follow up.
It's a good follow-up.
Because we were having pizza the other day at Joe's, and we were talking about
But we were also talking about, right?
What?
We were also talking about about us podcasting, right? And you revealing weirder things about yourself and stuff like that. Did we not talk about that as well?
A little bit, yeah.
And that I think that would help this podcast.
Sure.
If we went a little stranger in a different, in uncomfortable territory.
I would love to hear what Fahim told you that was weird about him.
He didn't. That's the thing. It's
That's the thing. I know.
The thing is, the reason why I think Fahim, doesn't. He's okay. Fahim Anwar. Let's just get the facts out.
Let's get him out there.
Okay. He's and this is not. He's one of the best young comics in the country. I have to say that.
Well, that's nice. Thanks, man.
Okay. Number two, you're very prolific in terms of joke writing. It's just second nature to you. Therefore, you're able to write on a show now, right? I don't have that skill set. You know what I mean? Everything is a lot of my jokes are by accident, you know what I mean? Or whatever, right? But it's I can perform well. I know how to perform, and I have an instinctual sense on stage where I can survive and all that kind of stuff, right? But it's so you have that skill set, right? You're also, I think, a very good actor. I've seen you in a bunch of things, and I think that you're a great actor, right? So those are good things. Also, no, I want more.
Oh, okay.
You're a real nice guy too. You're very political, right? But you're not. Now let's go to. This is going to segue into what I think you should improve on.
Please.
Right? You're not dangerous.
That's true.
At all.
Yeah.
Right? You're so squeaky clean safe. Even though your edgy jokes are pretty edgy and crazy and inventive, there's still nothing dangerous about you, right? Which means it's not as sexy, right?
Yeah, I buy that.
Okay, good. Number two, you're so afraid of image. I know that about you. You want a specific image that you want to put out there. I don't know. Maybe it's because of your upbringing. You don't want to disappoint your parents. I don't know what it is. But there's a certain image that you want to put out, right?
I don't know if it's that calculated where there's a particular image and it's got to be this way. I think it's just I was raised, maybe Ali can attest to this, just we're both Afghan. Our parents are from Afghanistan. We grew up here. There's just a certain boundaries as to how far outside that box you can go. And me doing stand-up or even being in the arts is already fucking outrageous. So you're off the charts, which is what I love about you and hanging out is you're so far on that other end. It helps me bring me towards there. But the image or whatever that you're sort of describing is just I'm already pushing a bit. I know there's more to be pushed, but it's because of that upbringing where you can't stick out that far or you get hammered in,
Yeah.
And not my parents would beat me or anything, but there's just an expectation as to how to behave and how to be and how to present.
But there's also things that you could reveal about yourself, that are you think private or you're ashamed of or you're embarrassed about, right? That you hide, right? That's the difference between you and me in that sense, that I don't have those things, right?
You're wide open.
I'm completely wide open, but that's the reason why I've been successful, I think, at podcasting because, number one, I see crazy things, but number two, it's I reveal things about myself that people can identify with, and then there's a connection that I get with my audience, right? And so that when I see them, you know what I mean? It's not just, oh, I saw you on this, or I'm a fan of that show and you're great on it. It's more I know you. We're brothers or family in a weird way.
Yeah.
And there's an everlasting connection. And it's I think that you could do the same in your own way that you don't do. Yeah. So that's why it's this interview right here is fine, but it just seems like Larry King. You know what I mean? It's very and I just want to make it a little bit more wild.
I agree with everything that you're saying.
What do you? No, I want Ali's opinion.
It's pretty spot on. Analysis of Fahim. I feel like it's his Afghan, but also his engineering background where everything is very calculated. Yeah. Everything has to be measured, thought out, run through a system of checks for him to be is it worth doing this? And then he measures it all out. Yeah. Even if I ask him hey, do you want to hang out or do whatever? It runs through his head like
I have a lot of filters.
Yeah, like the amount of time.
I have a lot of filters.
Like the amount of time it'll take to do this, the money involved. Am I gonna like his fun meter? Is it worth the fun?
Yeah.
So I feel like even with stand up, because I feel like he's very controlled about how he wants to be presented to the world, and I mean,
yeah, go ahead. That was good.
Yeah, that's, you're dead on.
Yeah.
Are you like that?
Yeah, I'm also like that too.
You're like that.
Here's what I will say though.
Yeah.
Like I agree with everything you're saying, we talked about this at Joe's, where you said the reason people listen to your podcast and they connect more than just being a fan is because they feel this. They're like, I went through that, or you talked about this, and I identify as that. I feel like in a small way, it's different than what you do, but there are a lot of people, maybe not as much as the reach that you have with your fans, that are kind of grew up like us and identify. I know we're not as outrageous or anything, but just the stuff that we talk about and the things that we're doing outside of the norm identifies, or it speaks to that, I don't know, that population of people out there. It's just not as
I'll
sexy.
tell you why it doesn't.
What? It doesn't speak to them.
I'll tell you why it doesn't, though.
Yeah.
Because it's like the thing that like they want, right? Because they live like you do, right? So this is right, and it's like they want to see somebody like themselves grow, and do something out. They want to see you because they live through you, right? Open up and grow and take risks. If you're just not growing and you're just behaving like you're just talking about things that they like, oh yeah, it's just appropriate, this and that. I don't think that's connecting with those people, because they can listen to any cookie cutter bullshit then, right?
Sure.
You're beyond that. The type of jokes that you say, right, are beyond that. I know there's a man in there, going, let me out, but it's like, there is. I know. I've known you for how long?
Yeah, a long time.
A long time.
Can I ask about that?
Go ahead.
The first time you met Fahim, do you remember where and what was your first impression?
The only distinct earliest memory of Fahim was, I don't know if you remember this, but I was playing Seattle. I had asked you to feature.
Okay.
And I go, where are you? And you're like, I'm just at this pizza place.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
So you remember that?
Yeah.
I go in there, and you had eaten your pizza, you had folded the napkins, and you were sitting there like a fucking serial killer, right? And just waiting for me. And you're like, oh, this is great, man. I grew up in this town, or whatever it might be, right? That's what I distinctly remember. And why do I, because I forget everything. Why do I remember that?
Why?
Because I found it to be bizarre and strange.
That I would eat a pizza by
It's
myself?
not that. It's just there was something lonely. I mean, because I remember because the pizza place had windows, right?
It was Pagliacci Pizza in Bellevue, I believe.
Yeah. So there's these windows and stuff. So I looked through the windows first and just saw this skinny kid, right? This is how long ago? 10 years ago?
A long time ago. Yeah.
12 years ago. And you're just sitting there, you know what I mean? And like kind of just, but not like relaxed, like stiff. Just shut the fuck up, man.
Right,
you know what I
okay.
mean? Stiff and just sitting, right? And why do I distinctly remember that? It's because I probably found it, you know what I mean? Off-putting.
You know what my first memory was?
What?
I think it's when you were sitting on the steps of the belly room at the Comedy Store, and then you met me there, and then you go, oh, you were on Mad TV at the time, and you go, hey,
that was that long ago?
Yeah, man. You go, I'm doing this sketch where like
That's right.
I need. I'm gonna say there's an Afghan. There's an Afghan in my closet, and you'd be in there in your underwear sharpening a sword.
No. That's not what it was. And this is I now remember, and it makes me mad. So it brings up feelings.
Sure.
So this kid's an engineer.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I'm
Right.
still working at Boeing at the time.
He's doing comedy, right? I'm on a show.
Yeah.
And I write these, the ones that have to do with like my own life, I write them. So I wrote that I was doing like a cribs, right? But I lived in a 2-bedroom apartment or 3-bedroom apartment, 2-bedroom apartment. And I got Dave Navarro at the time.
Damn.
Yeah, to be in it, right? So I'm showing Dave Navarro around my house. And I open up a closet, and there's a guy with no shirt, you know what I mean, cooking a stew, right? right? And then I just close it. So it's like he would turn around, look right at the camera.
Yeah.
There was no Afghan joke or anything like that to it. It was just like you were wearing a turban, right? You didn't have to. You could have improvised something, you know what I mean? But at the time, right? But I just had Sandy Danto do it after you did. He did the same exact thing.
Yeah.
And nothing happened.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah, and so imagine on a network show, if I asked you to do that, would you have done it?
Yeah, I would have. Yeah.
You would have.
Yeah.
Yeah, I found that to be fucking crazy.
Why?
Because it was a primetime show.
Yeah.
He had never done anything, right? He didn't have to audition because all those parts are auditions, even those little parts, right? And it could have been a gateway to do other things as well, right? I've used, Danny Cho and some of these guys 10, 15 times on sketches if I just need, you know what I mean? And they're not all racial specific, you know what I mean? They're just like, you're in the crowd and you say a funny line or whatever. It was just a cool way to be on a sketch show, right? Yeah. And he just flat out said no.
No, I wasn't that rude about it.
But did he give you a reasoning or did he just say no?
Yeah, I don't want to do Afghan stuff and be portrayed that way.
So it's funny because it circles back to what we were just talking about how calculated and how he has to filter every thought process. And then goes back to what, like 14, 13 years ago?
Yeah.
Even longer probably because it's like, it ended 2000. That was probably 2006.
I don't know.
Oh, wow. Yeah, maybe 14, 15 years ago.
I know what you mean, but the filter that went through my head usually, because I always get very nervous and stuff when it comes to like ethnic things.
Why?
Just because usually I don't want to go down that route. I feel like this town.
Why though?
Why? Because I just feel like there's a certain type of comedy that I aspire to do.
Yeah,
and I try really hard to do it, and I feel like this town wants you to be that already, and me helping them, I don't want to help them do what they already want to do to me. You know what I mean?
Right, but you could have said,
especially when the upside to me at the point, it's like a little part. It's not. It wasn't worth it to me.
Right, but you could have done. Imagine this: if I said, we were on set and you said, "Hey, can I just turn around and like do a southern like Texas accent?" Mm-hmm. And I would have been like, "Yeah, do whatever." Right? You could have made it your own. Right? Like we could have got on set and you could even said, "I don't want to wear the turban." I think it'd be funny. Right.
Well, I mean, there's this scenario. Then you can't be the new guy and be that difficult. Be like
you're not being difficult. You're not being difficult because those types of sketches, right? It's not like Dick Blasucci was there, the showrunner, right? Mm-hmm. It's like we have 3 cameramen, me, one other producer writer, someone like Rich Tellerica or whatever, right? And we're just kind of talking about what's the best thing it is for the scene, right?
Well, I didn't know you as well at the time, and then I always get really nervous when it's ethnic stuff, and I always shied away from it for my whole career. I did kind of succumb to it with that Tina Fey movie, where I played that Afghan guy in that Whiskey Tango Foxtrot movie.
Yeah.
Like,
do you have an accent?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Normally I wouldn't do that shit, but I was like, Tina Fey's involved. It's these big time directors.
That hurts me.
It's Lorne Michaels.
Because Tina Fey and Lorne Michaels is bigger
than being a guy sharpening a sword with a turban in a Mad TV sketch for a second.
Nothing would have happened.
How did you step out of it? Like, we're both children of immigrants, but we're vastly different. How did you end up the way you are and I am the way I am?
Because Asian people have accents. A lot of them do, you know? And when they're asking me, like, I think that if they... Yeah, I've been...
Wait, are you talking about Hollywood?
Yeah.
Okay, this is two-parter then.
And stand-up too.
No, not only that. I'm talking about just sort of like you and your brother are very left of center, or...
To you?
To me, I suppose. Do you think it's typical to be like this?
I think he's
outside the norm.
Yeah, he's definitely like groundbreaking.
In what way, though? In what way?
I would say it's not typical for...
In what way, though?
In what way?
Yeah.
What you talk about.
Okay, so
how open you are. Yeah. I think it's great,
that's just being a human being. What the fuck are you talking about?
Well, I mean, there's this like whole like stereotype of Asian Americans in media.
That's on you.
Well, that's...
Sorry, I don't even know what you mean. So, my point. So, you're right. Let me be...
I think you're an outlier is what I'm trying to say.
I don't think I am. Because if you look at like...
You don't feel like you paved the way for...
No, because if you look at... Right now I'm watching a show called Squid Games. Mm-hmm. Okay? And the way Koreans act in that movie, right? It's a violent movie. It's a great show. I mean, it's a TV show.
Is it anime or is it live
no,
action?
it's live action. It
Okay.
really is great, and it's a hit, right? I've had 15 people say to watch it, and I watch it and I go, "This is great," but it's even conversationally, right? And the things that Koreans behave and they react to, because they go from 0 to 100 in a heartbeat, right? And it's like, I do that, like, you know how I just raised my voice just now,
Yeah.
right? Went from 0 to 100. People perceive that as being like, wow, that's, you know what I mean? A wild personality. No, that's just being Korean. It's a cultural thing, right? And it's like, I think Koreans are a lot like me, you know? We say, we'll say fucked up things, like secrets, you know what I mean? That people wanted you to hide. You know, it's a cultural thing. You know, I don't think that I'm any different than any other person.
But like depicted in media, was there any depiction of Koreans prior to the show in that manner? In Hollywood, not in K-dramas.
In all Korean, you mean before Squid Game?
Yeah, in American media. Prior, like not K-dramas.
Well, first of all, in America, no, because it's like obvious. Well, no, because of the fact that it's like, you know, it's a completely different country.
Yeah.
Right. But what I'm saying though is that, you know what I mean? I'm just behaving the way I am.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right. And I don't find it to be bizarre or weird or set left of center or whatever.
I'm saying, no, it's fine what you're doing. I'm saying there are plenty of people who are like that, but I'm saying it's atypical to immigrant parents. Like, what were your parents like when you and
It's
Steve
not because my
were...
cousin Jenny, right, almost killed a woman with her. She had high heel, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And she jammed the high heel into a woman's eye because she wouldn't get. It was a waitress. She didn't give her hot sauce at a Chinese restaurant, right? Or if you look at Kalila's uncle, she had two uncles. One uncle took a machete and chopped the other one in half through the torso in broad daylight. He went to prison for 15 years or 20 years. Came back. I met him. I know the guy, right? And I always give him money because I don't want to get chopped. But the thing is my point is that, you know, you back in Afghan, there's probably some crazy shit there too. Right?
Oh yeah,
It's a good point.
My point is that it's like
people are people.
Not people are people. It's just human nature.
Yeah.
Right. You know, not everyone is like a fucking serial killer like both of you. Just these fucking, you know what I mean, quiet, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? Don't say that. Don't, you know what I mean? And just let's just go stay on the fucking the road. You know what I mean?
I'm not saying don't
Stop.
say
Why
that.
you keep looking at your phone, man?
Because there's some shit on it.
Okay, well, I mean, if we're referring to that,
Yeah.
I feel like Hollywood. I mean, because when we're talking about like film and media and entertainment, the powers that be only wanted a certain depiction of Asian Americans, right? I mean, like even for like South Asians, like the only depiction they wanted South Asians and Indians and Pakistanis to be as like that IT guy, the quiet guy, that, you know.
Yeah.
When did you notice a shift? Like, when did that start happening?
Where you're
From,
like,
kind of hackier shit to more nuanced stuff.
In the last 10 years, maybe 5-10 years, you know. But for me, it's like that's the reason why I don't think I worked as often as I did. I'm doing now, because without that shift, you mean like I have to admit, I turned down the biggest role 7 months ago. That I in fact, still to this day, I go, should I have done it? But I'm gonna tell you what it is. But it's like a huge movie with big actors, right? And I would have been one of them, right? But I had to do an Asian accent. Okay. And, you know, I did it for The Dictator, right? And then I would have other Asian actors give me shit about it, right? And even if Sacha Baron Cohen asked me now to do it, I'd probably do it, an Asian accent, because I love him. Like Tina Fey, of course, you know what I mean? I would do it, even though it's not the greatest desire. You know, I don't have the greatest desire to do it. But in this specific incident, the dialogue was written in a broken English. You know what I mean? And I knew, and then I talked to the director on Zoom, and he goes, please do it. And I go, he lives in LA. Why does he need to have one? He goes, I just want it. And I go, I can't do it. You know? So, and that was influenced by my girlfriend as well. She's like, you just gotta stop doing that. And I go, but it's got this person in it. All my scenes are with this big star. She's like, I know. And I was like, I just couldn't do it because the last couple of years I've been doing a lot of acting roles that don't have anything to do, like when Reservations Act, maybe I mentioned a couple of times in it, but it's still like this kind of low energy, tired doctor, you know what I mean? Like he's complex. He doesn't want to be there, you know what I mean? And yet, you know what I mean? Here he, after 20 years, found himself on a reservation, right?
Yeah.
And you have all these complexities about this character,
Yeah.
and you just kind of go, I want to do this, right? Even if you watch Magnum, it's like, I don't have an Asian accent. We never refer to being Asian. And it's like, he's just kind of like this weird, fast-talking kind of idiot, you know what I mean? All these parts that I'm doing, I'm in the new Sex and the City.
Yeah.
And I play a podcaster, but it's like I'm playing more like myself. That's why they wanted me in the show, right? And for me to do this Asian accent in the midst of, I did Borderlands, no Asian accents in the future or whatever, right? So it's like, for me to do it, it just felt like going backwards. But if I didn't have any of this other shit going on in my life, I would have done it, and I would have sucked everyone's dick.
Sure.
I would have sucked everyone's dick.
Yeah.
Literally. But because I have all this other stuff going on, I was just kind of like, I just can't, I'd feel like shit, I think.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And it's like, and it's also my way of going, come on. If I was in Korea, or like it was a period piece, right?
Yeah.
Like I've always wanted to do a TV show about the early days of Koreatown, like in the 70s.
Yeah.
Right? And then like, you know, I'm a kind of like a hoodlum from Korea, but I have to speak English. I mean, I would do an accent for that.
Because it makes sense.
It makes sense. You know what I mean? It's a cool...
And it's not a joke. It's like the
Yeah.
punchline isn't the accent.
Yes.
Yeah.
The role would require the accent. It's not just because I like it.
Yeah.
Or because I think it's funny.
Yeah. I mean, but even in the one I turned down, you know what I mean? You know, if the accent isn't the joke, it was just that the director he just had this idea in his head that he was just this guy, right? And I don't know who they got. They probably got someone really great to do it, but you know, I still think about it, man. It was crazy, you know.
What would your advice be to younger Asian actors
What do you mean?
that were like offered this opportunity as well? Would you be like, hey man, like,
I think it depends on circumstances.
It's circumstances for sure.
okay.
And what your appetite for that is. It all depends on the actor, you know?
Yeah, what's great about podcasting and doing stand-up is that I don't have to take everything.
Yeah.
So I end up turning down a lot of things, you know, and it's like even auditions. Like, you know, I read probably this last month for 4 things. I didn't get any of them, but they were like things that I was like, you know, I'd like to do these things, right? But I get a lot of shit that's just like, I don't even want to do it even if I got it. You know what I mean? So I just won't even put myself on tape, you know, because I don't need the money. Mm-hmm. Now, if I wasn't just an actor, I would audition for everything. I would do everything, you know what I mean? But it's like, I'm lucky enough to go, you know, I don't want to do it.
So how did you get to this place in podcasting? Because you're like, you know, up there with Tiger Belly and Bad Friends and stuff. Were you doing what David Cho for a while? And Asa?
This is like such a
Sorry, man.
corporate.
This is what it is.
No,
So,
don't.
I want to
stop
know, though.
Getting angry.
Was that the first podcast that you did?
Why are you rushing? You have to go to get to bed because you have to go to work in the morning? Is that what it is? You
No,
keep
no,
looking
no.
and watch like I gotta.
No,
because
because you want to go to asteroid route and like
No, I'm not going to asteroid
bisexual
route.
island.
Come on, there's a little alien worm creature biting people's dicks.
Was that the first podcast you were doing?
What?
Was that the first podcast?
I so don't want to answer it because you want to go this one direction, your way.
All right.
You know, no, it's okay. Let's fight. You want to fight?
No, we don't.
How come we never fight?
Yeah, we do.
Let's
little bit.
argue.
What's the debate topic you guys have?
We
Don't have one. No. What's the question again?
How
How did I get
David?
the podcast?
Was
How
that
the
David?
fuck did I get it?
Was it David Cho?
Here's
one the first?
Here's what it was. You fucking dipshit, fuckface.
Please.
Why? Because you. I'm.
No,
First of all, you know,
no, I'm not
ending.
in a
I'm not
rush.
ending. I'm not ending right now.
No, we're not.
I drove
we're-
all the way over
we're
here.
Not
We're not
ending.
fucking ending
We're
anything.
not. Don't worry.
I'm staying here, and we're gonna do a fucking 5-hour one.
Sure.
Let's do it.
All right. So I don't give a shit. All right. So you fucking idiot. So this is what happened. So in 2000, 2011, maybe 2010, in that time period. I was going on the road. This is after Mad TV, and I couldn't sell a ticket for the life of me. I would do I remember playing the Denver Improv with Court McCowan on a Saturday night. I got 65 people a show. It was that room holds 400 people, right? Terrible. And so my agent calls me and goes, buddy, I don't know, man. You have to step it up when it comes to media, because your radio, you know what I mean? You're so low energy because it's so early in the morning when you have to do these things. And it's so PC, right? So when I went to New York, I played Caroline's, and they said that I had to do Opie and Anthony at the time. This is when Patrice was still alive, Greg Giraldo, everyone, right? And the first time I went on there, I left probably 20 minutes or 30 minutes into the interview because they were bullying me. I had a panic attack. I think you could see it online maybe, and I left. So then the next year I had to go back, and they said I had to do. And I just decided, in order to survive, I have to say the most fucked up things imaginable. So I would make up these stories and say the most fucked up things and just shock, right? I think that was the root, the beginning of it. And also was more myself in terms of fighting back or showing, you know what I mean, my paranoia, and you know what I mean, and just leaving it all out there. And it seemed to work because every year, people were just wanting me to be on Opie and Anthony, right? And I was getting a fan base there. And then doing Dave Cho's podcast with my girlfriend was the beginning of, we could do it together. And I brought the same mentality into Dave Cho's podcast as I did Opie and Anthony, whereas just make shit up, be as dirty as you can, and be so weird and sensational almost, right? It's like edgelord, you know, before edgelord was a thing, you know? And it seemed to work. Now, I've done some of that stuff has been come back to bite me in the ass, but it did teach me, you know what I mean, some of the rules that I have for when it comes to podcasting. So when me and Kalila started, we had no one listen in the beginning. It took us years to get any kind of traction, but it slowly got there. And it's a combination between, you know, what I used to do in Opie and Anthony, and also be vulnerable, you know, and reveal things about myself that I'm really I said I was gonna die with, secrets.
Yeah.
And not rely on jokes, right? We got to do bits, and we got to do the segment and all this kind of stuff. It's if there's lulls, there's lulls. If it's, you know, if it's a conversation about being molested, it is, you know what I mean, whatever, you know what I mean. And through time, it just, you know, and then having the guests come and help too. It's pulling in favors. You know, I've called everyone, you know, and I've had great guests. You know, I was able to get Jordan. Jordan doesn't do podcasts, but he owes me one. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Through all the rides I used to give him back in the Mad TV days, he didn't have a car.
What's that like? Just to see friends like Jordan and stuff pop off, and the heights that, you know, you see all your friends kind of end up in these different places. You know,
there's certain people that become big, and I go, good for them. Mm-hmm. Or you kind of had this inkling it was going to happen. And Jordan's one of those. I think Jordan was one of those. I knew Eric Stone Street, when he had nothing, when he was poor, you know what I mean? I knew a lot of these guys, you know. There's some people, I would name names, that make it, and I go, wow, how, why? That doesn't make any sense. You know what I mean? They're terrible. So, but Jordan wasn't one of those. Jordan was just and Keegan as well, was oh yeah, given. You know what I mean? It's and I'm so happy for him.
Yeah.
There's nothing, even that little ugly piece of shit Joe Coy, that ugly flip,
whoa,
ugly, buggy-eyed, ugly Joe Coy, You know what I mean? With his stupid fucking balding head and his approach to comedy. Even him, when I see him like in these stadiums.
It looks like a Star Wars amphitheater.
Yeah.
Every time he shoots a video, I'm like, what galaxy is this in?
And I'm literally, he just texted me today. I'm 100% happy for him. He worked his ass off. He's super talented. You look at guys like that. You look at guys like Frank Caliendo, and you just go, this guy's so talented. I mean, everything, you know what I mean? It's just like there's no... But then you see somebody that never made you laugh, that aren't particularly interesting in any kind of way, and they blow up, and you're just kind of going... And then people believe it.
Well, it's almost inspiring, though. You see that, and you go, oh, it's a crapshoot. There's an element of chance in this town as well, you know?
Yeah, it's a gamble and a crapshoot. But you know... But maybe my success is a crapshoot. I don't know. I mean, it could be.
I don't know.
I have no idea.
You know what I always love? We would talk at the store, and I always love hearing your like audition bomb stories.
Oh yeah. I mean, I've had the worst ones imaginable. I've done things in the room that baffle my mind even to this day. I had this one where I auditioned for this. I don't want to say his name, but he was a heavyset guy.
Okay.
He was a director, and I have a good audition. And I'm heading out the door, and he goes, "Hey, where you going, man?" I go, "What?" And he goes, "No, I want to get to know you." So after you audition and they say that, you almost have the job, right? They just want to see if you're like a psycho, right?
Sure.
That you're going to be like not a psychopath on stage, right? And then they want to get to know you if you're a nice guy or whatever. So we're talking for like 5-7 minutes or whatever. And it got to the point where I'm pretty close to him. Like, we're almost touching. But he's sitting. And I say something super funny. I don't know what it was. But we both laugh. And at the height of the laughter, for some reason, I said I thought it would be okay to go, "Fatty!" And I poked his stomach. Right? "Fatty!" Right? I poked his stomach. And after I did that, he points to the door. And as I turn around, I go, "Why did you?" Like, there's no rhyme or reason why you would do that. Like, obviously I didn't get the part, you know what I mean? And it was like totally like a nightmare, you know what I mean? And I still think of it like, but in slow motion in my head.
Yeah.
Do
you replay it in your mind?
Yeah,
and try to figure out why?
I think because it would have been funny if, like, imagine if it was me and Eric Griffin, right? Right? And we were just joking around, and I poke a lot of people, right?
Yeah.
And I poked them, and I did that. Maybe that would have got an extra laugh, or it's like a way of like...
Was part of you thinking that if he's into this, this is going to be fucking hysterical?
Yeah.
Like, if he has the same type of sense of humor and is
yeah.
comfortable with his body, we're going to have a laugh.
Yeah, but it didn't. It was the opposite. You know, I don't think I ever even got called into that casting office again.
What was the one where you just go, bye?
Oh, yeah. So I had this one where it was on a Saturday. So, you know, when there's an audition on a Saturday, it's bizarre.
Yeah.
And it was one of those movies where I got the email, whatever, and I didn't really read through it. Because it was like a movie, and there was already big stars or something attached to it. I was just like, I'm not going to get this. I kind of forgot about it, too. And then, like, Friday night, my agent calls me and goes, "It's tomorrow." I go, "What?" "The audition." And I go, "What?" And I kind of barely read through it. I thought it was also going to be just me and the cast director. I could just read it off the page or whatever.
Yeah.
So I show up, and I knew something was wrong because I was the only one there in the lobby. And also the lobby was extra nice. I mean, extra nice in terms of like the decor. I remember there was these gigantic, beautiful wooden doors.
Yeah.
And there was like a pond with a stream in it inside.
Oh my God.
And then a lady got me a glass of water. Right? Not one of those, you know, something to give those like little cups. Dixie cups, right? And so I'm drinking this, and I'm like, and then this is when the panic started happening. When a sound guy came up to me. So he had a sound pack. So he put the sound pack in.
Yeah.
And I go, but how many people are in there? Like, as he's doing it. You got, I don't know, 20? And I go, what? Right? And as soon as he said that, I just knew it was fight or flight.
Yeah.
And I chose flight. I had to get the fuck out of there. Right? I didn't know this thing.
Yeah.
I didn't know the character. You know, it was terrible. So as with these gigantic doors open, I see a line of them, and they're just like, right? And I'm going, how do I get out of this? Because I just knew because I didn't even have like, you know what I mean? I didn't even know what the first line of it was, like who says what. I just knew that I had it in a rolled up as well, like, you know, like in my fist.
Yeah, like a death
like
grip.
a death grip. Yeah. And I walk in there, and there's a mark. I sit on the mark, and they go, "Are you ready?" I go, "Huh?" Okay. They turn on the cameras, and they're just looking at me. I think I spent about 20 seconds not saying nothing. It gets to the point where it's like, now it's turning uncomfortable. And I look at them, and I go, "Bye." Oh. Right? And I turn around, I head out, I take the mic off, I get to the guy, and and I get in the car, and here's how bad it got. It was so they had this new group of guys at CAA, and they're like, I can't name who they are, but they're the biggest agents in the business, and they all decided to be on my team. They called me and said, we're done, you're done. They came there to see you. Every one of the producers, everyone. Like, we set it up, you know what I mean, so you can win. You know what I mean? And I remember Matt calling me my personal appearance agent. He goes, "I smoothed you all over, but those guys aren't repping you now. I got you this kid, right? But this kid now is one of the heads of the department. I mean, he has, like, big stars. But at the time, he was just new there, so I just went with this young kid. And, but, yeah, I did that. And because of its fear, and, you know, it's so funny because it's so locked into my dad. Because I grew up with so much trauma, because my dad was so abusive growing up and physical, that whenever my dad would, like, beat the shit out of my mom, like, he used to punch her in the face, like, and she'd be bleeding, right? And, like, beat the shit out of my brother or whatever it might be. I remember that I just couldn't talk, and I would freeze, because I would just be in shock, and I would have an out of body experience where it's like, I'm leaving my body. You know what I mean? So I'm observing it from outside my body, right? And I can't move. So whenever I'm in any kind of stressful situation, my body automatically does that, right? I could be on the biggest movie set in the world, and the biggest opportunity, if I feel any kind of threat or fear or anything like that, I just can't talk, right? And and then sometimes it wouldn't happen. Like, sometimes it'd be like, luckily in most situations, like if I actually have a job, it doesn't happen. It has happened where at one time I was in this movie where I had this monologue and I just could not get it out. And they cut the scene. It was terrible, right? But then sometimes I'll be in a thing where I'm like, oh, it's not happening. Cool. But it would happen a lot in auditions, right? So it's like, I had this one where I don't know if I should.
Why not? Do it. I think it's very helpful just to know someone as successful as you has gone through this, because I think it happens to a lot of people and they feel alone in that.
Yeah, well, so I had this audition for this Amy Poehler produced show, and I know Amy. She's such a nice lady, and but I didn't think she was gonna be in the room. So I walked in the room and I see her. I'm like, oh fuck! And then all of a sudden she goes, if she said do the audition right then and there, I would have done okay. but she did this thing where she introduced me to everyone in the room, right? And then talk about myself first, and then go to the audition. And then I didn't know any of it. And I was so bad in there that when I walked out, I took a bottle of water and I hit myself over the head probably 100 times as hard as I can, right? It was one of those long, smart waters, right? And when I got in the car, my face was bleeding. Like, it was all red. Like, I looked like Carrie. You know what I mean? Like, I would also beat myself, right, if I did something wrong or any kind of shame. It's all directly derived from the way I was raised, you know. And then when my dad died, you know, obviously I had a breakdown and I didn't know what it was. I couldn't eat or sleep. I relapsed. It was a mess. This was 2 years ago. And I was going to kill myself. I thoughts of suicide. And I saw a trauma therapist just out of the blue. Some guy suggested it to me. Then I went away to Arizona at this institution where they deal with trauma and PTSD and stuff. So, you know, you're in there with like army people. Also, there was a couple of rock stars too. And it was just a different plumber, different array of people.
Like, not to brag.
Not to brag. There were some pretty big people there. But you're there 12 hours a day. And David Cho was the guy to tell me to go through that because he had the same kind of upbringing from his Korean family or whatever, right? So it's like, and as soon as I did the work, you know, it's funny, like every job now that I have, it's not going to happen. It hasn't happened. Where it's like, even if it gets stressful, like I remember doing Reservation Dogs in the beginning, like we did a rehearsal and it was a little nervous. And I could see my panic, you know, surfacing because there was these nerves. It just kind of like, I just outwardly said, hey guys, I know that rehearsal was really weird because, you know, I got a little nervous and, you know, I started shutting down, but I go, I'm going to be fine when we shoot. Let's just do it. Right. It was fine. You know, yeah, I'm more honest, you know what I mean? When I'm there, not pretending that things aren't happening. Like, you know, I'm nervous.
Just verbalizing what's going on.
Yeah. You know what I mean? I don't understand what this line means. You know what I mean? Or let's figure this out. You know what I mean? There's more of a, you know what I mean? A collaborative thing, whereas I'm not just like this talking head that memorized these lines. You know what I mean? No, it's just like I was on Sex and the City, and I had the scene with Sarah Jessica Parker, and there was this one line that was so weird, the way it was written, and I just kept in my head just rehearsing it. I just couldn't. And every time we would do it, you know what I mean, a run through of it from like a wide angle or whatever.
Yeah.
It just came out weird. And I just basically walked up to the fucking head writer and I went, or the showrunner, and I went, we got to change this line. It's just written in a weird way. I can't get my mind around it. It's like, what do you want to say? I go, I think I'll get the same point across if I say it this way. And he goes, oh, that's fine. So I just did it that way. It was fine. You know what I mean? But it's like, I would have never done that 3 years ago. I would have just done exactly the way it was written, even though it didn't make any sense to me, without like going, let's work on it together so that you can come up, you know.
You just would have been in this personal hell. Instead of saying, hey, I'm having trouble with this. Can I?
Yeah.
Like giving yourself value to do that.
Or explain to me what this means, because it's like, it doesn't make any, like before it would be like, I wouldn't even know what a line meant. You know what I mean? Because it was like a reference to an episode two episodes ago that I wasn't even in, right? And they, but that's and then they go, no, that's a running joke, because you know what I mean. And then I'd be like, oh, then I can do it, right? But before I would have not said anything and just pretended that I knew what the fuck it meant, right? And it would come across weird, or I wouldn't even be able to say it right because it's like I don't know what the context is, right? So it's like everything is completely different now, where it's like I can just say, hey, I don't know, or you know what I mean, and then sometimes I kill it, like from the beginning.
Yeah.
Borderlands was cool because it's like the first scene I did there, I was so scared because it's the first. So I'm on a movie called Borderlands.
Kevin Hart movie.
Kevin Hart, but it's like it's the first movie where I'm around that many stars. You know what I mean? It's like, do you know about it?
Yeah.
The video game or the movie being made? Or
I know
both?
about the game.
Well,
So I'm in a movie
Yeah.
based on the game.
Gotcha.
And it's got Kate Blanchett and all these fucking big stars. So I'm there with Kate, Kevin, Jamie Lee Curtis. Everyone's on set. I know that I have one of my big scenes next, and it's taking forever. It's like 10 hours, right? And I remember walking. They're like, we're going to rehearse. It's a scene with, it's also one of those wedding scenes where it's like, there's so many extras and cranes. And also in a movie like this, it's like, there's like vehicles in the distance that are like these futuristic vehicles and gigantic green screens up, right?
You think about the manpower and
Yeah.
man hours.
There's
how many lives are
1,000
involved
people
in
on
this
set.
thing? Yeah.
1,000 of people on set. Trucks driving people, chaos, right? And I'm just going, I don't know my lines. Right? I forgot them. You know what I mean? Because I didn't sleep that night.
Yeah.
And it's like, and as they go, we're rehearsing. It's a scene between me and Kevin. And it's like this desert. So I have to walk through a desert. I'm not kidding you.
Uh-huh.
It's like, you know what I mean? It's not a mile away, but it's like a long distance. I'm trudging through this desert. And I can see myself. And I just went, breathe. Start breathing. And I just go, you're the best. You're Bobby Lee. I know it sounds cheesy and corny.
No, not at all.
But
No,
it's like, you're here
self-affirmations.
for a reason. You know what I mean? You're going to kill it. You know this. You're going to kill it. It was the craziest thing. Eli goes, rehearse it. I rehearse it. Eli Roth is the director. And he goes, dude, that was perfect. We should have taped that. Let's just shoot it. First take. We don't have to do any more, but that was right on. Exactly that. It was a scene where I had to walk around and pick things up and say things and bring props and, you know what I mean, do this whole thing, right? And then he did it a second time and then he goes, oh, we're moving on. And I was just like, I can do it.
Yeah.
I can do any of it. Like this year I can do a show like Sex and the City, Reservation Dogs, Magnum P.I., now this movie. So like now it's like, and I've always known how to do it. Right?
Yeah.
But I don't know what happened. It's like after the therapy in the pandemic and working on myself and this and that, and also the age that I'm at, and everything just kind of came to a head, and I feel different.
Also, don't you feel like you've been doing it so long at this point where you're like, it's foolish to think this way? Like, if not me, then who? Kind of, you know?
Yeah, there is some of that. Yeah. I mean, you're right. I mean, but
Like, I'm too old to be thinking this way. It's juvenile at this point.
But it's not that. It's like when I did a couple years ago when I was on Splitting Up Together with Oliver Hudson and Jenna Fisher, I was on that sitcom. Even though it came across okay, like if you watched the show, it was fine. You don't know what I was feeling. I was feeling constantly panicked and not having fun and dreading every minute of it. What I'm saying now is that I look forward to going, and I can't wait to try certain things, right? And wait, I'm gonna improvise this thing at the end. And if they say no, don't say that again. That's fine, right? Or I'm gonna, you know what I mean, drink in this weird way. You know what I mean? So maybe it'll read. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's different things I want to try, and it's a completely different way in that way. I've done a lot of things, but it's like all the things I've ever done has been like Harold and Kumar.
Uh-huh.
I remember sitting there, and I don't think I took a breath between that whole thing I said in that movie. You know, I did that. I have a 2-part question. You know, remember that movie?
Yeah.
I did not catch a breath. I was in so much fear of getting it perfect. You know what I mean? And just doing the whole thing. So it looks funny and it feels funny, but I'm going to tell you right now, it was like living hell for me. It was like going through, I equate it to like Christian Bale escaping that prison. You know what I mean? And breaking his back and doing it. You know what I mean? Like that's what it felt like getting out. And it shouldn't feel that way. It should be fun, right? So it's like, I think it's helped me in that way. I mean, I'm sucked that my dad died, but going through that work has changed me in a weird way. And also, like, the confidence of having Tiger Belly and Bad Friends, and with the age that I'm at and all this stuff, it's like, and also minorities, you can also feel there's been a shift in Hollywood where it's like, I used to get, I'm not kidding you, 3 auditions a year.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. And it's so funny, these fucking white people. I'm going to tell you who it was, but I was hanging out with this white actor, and he was like, well, it sucks for me, man. I go, what's the matter? He goes, it's you fucking guys, man, getting all the jobs now. Right? I go, well, how many auditions did you get a year? Like, in 2015. And he goes, I would get like 5 auditions a week. Right? And I'm like, so now you're getting 2 a week. And I used to get 3 a year. And I'm getting 10 a year. Right?
Yeah.
It's like, it's just a little shift.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
they want the scraps that were even thrown to us.
I know.
You know, that's what it is. It's
Yeah.
like, oh, you're getting the scraps. Well, I want that too.
Yeah. It's
just-
not even, it's not a 50-50 split. The pendulum didn't swing the other way, right? It moved a little, right? And people are freaking the fuck out. Because let me tell you something right now. I'm telling you right now, I have white friends that are on Instagram, whatever, doing projects, and they're doing it with a bunch of other white people. They're fine.
Yeah.
They're fucking fine. So every once in a while, they'll go, we can't have all white cast. Let's change 2 of the characters. And I mean, what?
Well, it just makes them notice how many white people are in a show where there's no reason to be that many. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, oh, the entire cast is white. I guess we could have one Asian person.
Yeah.
Whereas before, they'd be like, who gives a shit?
Yeah. And then that's why Reservation Dogs was such just an enlightening experience, because like I show up and like the writers are all native, showrunners are native, the cast is primarily native, right? And you kind of go, yeah, I'm sorry, but it feels good.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I looked around that thing and went, and even Kirk Fox,
Yeah.
right? Who's white.
I love Kirk.
I love Kirk too.
Yeah.
He's very talented. But even him getting that part, you're not, because he's a character actor. He looks weird. He still didn't get the kind of opportunities that some of these other white dudes get, right? And I'm happy for him. My point is that when I'm looking around now and I'm seeing these changes, I feel like it's finally, you know what I mean, here.
Yeah.
And yet some of these guys are like complaining.
Like, I'm getting a little less. This is ludicrous.
Yeah. Are we done?
No, not yet. I got some more shit.
What is it?
You had Mencia on your pod. Was that weird?
Are these things you wrote down, these questions?
These are things that I'm curious about that I've been meaning.
Why?
They don't come up in.
Why?
Why?
Yeah.
This is interesting.
Are you interested?
Well, have you already?
No, can Ali-
hold on. Have you already addressed it? Because if you haven't,
no, I haven't addressed it.
Oh.
Ali, do you have questions for me?
oh yeah, go
Yeah,
ahead.
I
Have
do.
Ali.
Are you the co-host,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
You don't really. Yeah, fuck this guy, man. Let's
Well,
go
you guys have a camaraderie. You guys
No,
have history.
I want to create something with you, man.
Well, hold on.
Go wild.
Well, my question was a follow up to Fahim's.
Have you seen my dick?
Yeah.
What?
You've seen my penis?
I think at the Comedy Store.
Have you seen my
close
penis?
to
Yeah, I
it.
think it's a rite of passage. Everyone
Yeah.
has to
Okay.
see it. Yeah.
So we don't have to do that right now.
No.
No, I was like front row Comedy
I've
Store.
had my fill.
Yeah. So what is it, Ali?
It was
No,
actually a
don't-
follow up of Fahim's.
Oh my God, what is it?
About this the guest that you had. Mencia.
No, you come up with your own fucking thing.
Well, it's a follow up to that. So once you answer that, I got my follow
All
up.
right, what's your question?
Two-parter. All right. You went on the road with Paulie and you went on the road with Mencia. What? Do you hate these questions?
Go ahead, I'll answer them.
Okay. What did you learn most from Paulie, and what did you learn most from Mencia as a comic?
With Paulie, I learned that it doesn't have to be like a polished act. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because there were times where Paulie was just like, you know what I mean? What is he doing? Right? But it's like he's just being himself and just reacting to the moment of what it is, right? And it's like it's just his general attitude and vibe, and that's what they love. You know what I mean? His fans love that, right? And it's like, I learned that it doesn't have to be perfect, and you can just be yourself. And, you know, in many ways, it's like, they're just happy to see him, right? With Mencia, I learned it's got to be militarized jokes. Like, you know what I mean? Like, tight, long, destroy from the beginning to end, right? So it's like it's a push and pull almost like between the two. They're completely two different audiences. But Mencia taught me, I used to take my hair and I make it into an afro on stage. You didn't know me then.
No.
And I did that for one joke, right? So my hair would be sticking out like this. And the one joke I would I would walk up on stage kind of tired and not say anything. And because of my hair, people would just laugh automatically. And I would just come to the mic and go, I'm not really Asian. I just woke up. And I used to get a laugh. Right? And it was like the biggest laugh that I got. Yeah. Right? And one day, Mencia goes, hey, bro, wear this. I go, what is it? It's a hat. He goes, wear that. And I go, I can't do my hair thing then. You're never going to do it again. I go, it's my thing. He's like, you're relying on it. It's not. It's dumb. So we made me wear this hat. And I bombed because I couldn't do the hair thing. Mm-hmm. And he taught me not to rely on these little gimmicks and, you know what I mean, little things. And just to, you know what I mean, write jokes, have a point of view and all that kind of stuff. But that's the things I learned from them. What else do I want to ask?
That's interesting. Well, you're going to piggyback on it. What was the
No,
question?
you were going to ask me about what was he like having the podcast.
Well, yeah.
That was my...
Was that in the works for a while? What made you want to have him on the pod?
I've been asking for years, and it never happened.
He would just say, no, I'm busy, or what?
He was on the road, too busy. You know, it's a difficult one to even talk about because I get pulled in different directions when I think about him.
Because he gave you your start a bit?
Or not just gave me my start. He was very gracious with financially for me. Back then, before Mad TV, I had no money. And if I needed rent, if I needed electrical bills paid, he would pay it. He bought me a car, which I totally totaled because stick shift. I didn't know how to do it. And, you know, he's done so much for me that it pains me what I did when he was in dire need for help. Mm-hmm. But if I didn't cut the cord, I would have been drugged down with him. And it was very difficult. Painful. And so having him on, you know, there was a part of me that's just like, I want to try to help him revive his thing. I always had this notion that if you apologized for all of it, even if there are some bits that you're accused of that you know in your heart you didn't steal, there's no way to prove you did or you didn't, right? So for me, that's specific to comedy, I think. I would just go, I used to steal. I'm sorry. You know, I need to have a lot of material because I was getting a lot of TV things and, you know, the amount of television appearances were catching up to the amount of material that I had. So I had to steal, whatever it might have been, right? But I thought the best approach, even when it happened, was apologize, maybe do a documentary about apologizing to comics that you stole from, and then do a documentary. In the documentary, it shows you going on the road and bombing new material and failing and do the trial and error thing that we all fucking do. And then at the end, you know what I mean? You're doing a special, right? That's completely yours. The audience is able to see, you know what I mean? Your progression and your failure and picking yourself back up and all that kind of stuff. And then I suggest that to our agent. He related to Ned, Carlos. He didn't want to do it. Denied it. And so I thought years had passed. I go, why don't we get him onto Tiger Belly? He can apologize for all of it, right? and we can start anew. And he wouldn't do it. And that's it. I mean, it was just like, he said he would do it on the phone.
He was like, that sounds like
bro,
a good game
I'll do it on my own
plan.
way, but like I want to come on and make it right or whatever. He gets on and he doesn't do it.
What's going through your mind when he's not doing the thing?
Me and Kalila were just kind of looking at each other going, what is this? And we gave him so many outs, right? And he's like sticking to the guns.
Yeah.
But in many ways, though, what does he care? Because at the end of the day, it's like some of the guys that we know that are canceled, right? They can always make a living on the road. Mm-hmm. He's always wanted. That's his thing. Mm-hmm. There's nothing better. I mean, him on stage is the ultimate dream from him. It really is. I dread it. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like going on the road and doing this 5th show, you're just like, I want to get the fuck out of here. 45 minutes, I'm out, right? He'll do 3, 4 hours. He doesn't give a fuck. That's his thing.
Yeah.
So in many ways, he's still able to do the thing he loves to do. He's still making a living, not as much as he did. You know, he could have been a bigger star than he is. But it's like, he's not destitute. He made so much money in his heyday.
Yeah.
He's very frugal with his money. And he's fine. You know what I mean? But, you know, I wanted him to try to get back into, you know, LA, Hollywood, and maybe get some stuff going. You know what I mean? That's outside of stand-up, that, you know, but that's probably not going to happen.
It just seemed like a wasted opportunity.
Yeah, I mean, you know, if it was me, I would have done it completely differently, you know. But, you know, in many ways, I mean, this is the real question you have to ask yourself, is there have been some white guys, people, right, that have been accused of thievery, and they were still able to hold on to their careers. I mean, that's the bigger question. You know, I mean, why does a Hispanic guy, right, get accused of the same thing, and he's in prison forever, right? And his white counterparts are able to have still a TV movie career and move on, right? Robin Williams was the biggest thief in comedy history. I mean, that's a known thing, right? He used to have a hotline.
Yeah.
Where if Robin stole one of your jokes, you could leave a message and they would write you a check.
Wow.
Right? And then, you know, they used to call him Robin Jokes or Williams or whatever, right? So it's like, that's a thing, right? Rest in peace. He was a genius. Yeah. He was one of the best from a comedian to actor we've ever had.
Yeah.
He's so talented. I'm not putting him down, or, you know, he has a legacy and he is a genius. There's nothing negative I want to say about him. That's just a factual thing, right? And he was still able to have a career, right? Why not Ned? Who knows, you know? But that is, you know, something that I think about. That's why I don't think it's about that. My theory is it's not about that. Maybe there is a little bit of, like, you know, racism in it or whatever, but I think it goes deeper, and this is it. He used to come to the Comedy Store in the 90s, and we'd have you'd see the lineup. You know, like today, every Wednesday at the Comedy Store, Martin Lawrence comes in, right? He's a nice guy, we see him. He's a special guest.
Yeah.
He does 15 minutes, sometimes less, and he leaves. There's no harm done. We get to see a legend. He's one of the greats, right? What Mencia did was not call in, show up unannounced, and do 3 hours, right? So if you had a 9:45 spot, he comes in at 9:30. You're not going to go up until 1 a.m, and then whoever's after you they don't even get to go up, right? And that happened all the time. Now think about this. Think about who was on those lineups back then. Maniscalco, Joe Rogan, Marc Maron, a young Whitney Cummings. The list goes on. Chelsea Handler, right? The list goes on. These are all people that showed up, thought they had a spot, and because of Mencia, couldn't go up, right? What does that do to you if you get bumped in that way all the time for years? You create a deep resentment. And I'm going to tell you guys something right now. Anyone starting out, right? This business is about many different things. You got to be good at your craft. You got to be able to get laughs and do all that. But that's not it. We know plenty of comics that destroy, that don't have big careers, right? You need a second thing, which is you hang with the right people.
Yeah, relationships.
It's relationship. It really is. It's like there's so many jobs where, especially lately, where it's like Gene, for instance, from Magnum PI. He's written me 12 episodes. In the episodes, I'm central in the storyline. They're great. It's great. I mean, some of them every scene. Mm-hmm. And years ago, Gene was and I didn't know him, but he told me, he was at that health food store.
Erewhon?
Not Erewhon, right on Santa Monica Boulevard. It's called
Whole Foods?
No, it's a health. They have drinks. Earth Bar.
Oh, okay.
He was at Earth Bar, and he said that out of the blue, I was sitting there and I was drinking the WeHo breakfast drink. Mm-hmm. And he walks in and he had APC jeans on, right? Which is raw denim.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And only cool people wear it. And I go, I touched his jeans. I go, whoa, dude, someone's doing well. And he kind of giggled. I didn't know who he was.
Yeah.
I go, you got good style, bro, right? And he knew who I was. He didn't say anything. He go, oh, you're Bobby Lee, whatever. He goes, thanks a lot, dude. And we had a couple of, I was a nice guy, right? Yeah. And then, I was in Hawaii a couple of years ago. I was sitting there at a restaurant at a bar, and he was sitting next to me.
Oh, wow.
And he goes, hey, dude. And I go, what's up? And he goes, yeah, I know you don't probably remember, but you said my jeans look cool. Right. I go, oh, yeah? He goes, yeah. I'm a producer. Magnum PI. I go, yeah? He goes, yeah. Let me write you a part.
Oh, shit.
And I go, yeah? Yeah. Right? And he wrote me one episode. It played well. Uh-huh. And now I'm going back in October and November to 2 more. My point is that, it's like, that's what it's about. Mm. Those little moments that this is another story that has, I don't want to bore you with it, but
no, go ahead.
I don't want to name the person, but one time I was working the back door at the Comedy Store. So I had a Comedy Store t-shirt. I was checking IDs, and back then the Comedy Store was a death pit. No one went there. It was negative. Mm-hmm. Everyone that worked there was just mean and unwelcoming, and it was terrible. And we wouldn't even get an audience. So I was working the back door, and there was a lady in the parking lot. She's wearing a power suit, and she looked like a business person. And I go, ma'am, you're not allowed to walk, Yeah. She goes, I don't even know how to get into this club. There's so many doors, right? And I go, well, come here. Who are you here to see? She said, I forgot what comic it was. Sure. She goes, this comic, and I'm an agent. Mm-hmm. At Gersh, she says. And I go, oh, cool. She goes, you know what? Follow me. I walk her on the back door. I put her in Mitzi's booth. Mm-hmm. And then I go to the cover booth and I go, she's an agent. Just let her sit there, right? And I go up to her and I go, what do you want to drink? She goes, Chardonnay. You have a Chardonnay? I go, I'll find you something. I go back. I get her a Chardonnay. And I go, it's on the house. Mm-hmm. And afterwards, maybe an hour later, she saw the person that she wanted. It was Mike Young or somebody. And she comes up to me and she goes, I had the best experience here that I've ever had. And I go, okay, bye, or whatever. What I mean? And she's like, what's your name? I go, Bobby Lee. I'm a comedian, but I'm new. I'm a regular here, but, I don't really get spots. She goes, noted. Right? So cut to a couple years later, maybe 3 years later. I auditioned for Mad TV 12 times or something. Mm. So the 12th audition, I'd been going in for months, bro. And story's so stupid.
No, do it. We're almost there. Come on.
And so, when you're testing for a show back then, you'd have to go to the lot. So it was Fox lot. You know what I mean? And you go to this theater, like this mini theater. And I'm sitting there in the lobby, and it's between me and this white kid. And the white kid was Taran Killam. You know Taran?
Oh,
No.
yeah, of course. Mad TV and SNL.
He was on SNL.
I'm sure I'll know him by face.
Yeah, so Taran was 17 at the time.
Oh, wow.
And I was 29. And Taran's like, "You're going to get this, man." I go, "No, dude, you're going to," because they didn't even fucking want to see me in the beginning because they were like, "We want a white guy." Right? This is just an option.
Yeah.
When Taran he's just got it.
Yeah.
He went in first. I could hear him kill. And he comes out. And he said, "That went well." And I was like, just fucking leave. I walk in there. And as I walk in, a lady walks in behind me. Right? And then I remember the executive says, "Hey, what are you doing here?" And she says, "I just want to make sure this guy gets the job." Right? So she sits there, and I do an okay job. And then as I walk out, she didn't say anything to me. As I walk out, she just kind of walked out with me. I went down to my car. I'm driving down Olympic or Pico. That's where that Fox is. Mm-hmm. I'm like, I wonder if maybe they'll consider me for another show. You know what I mean? And I got the call. I got it.
Wow.
Yeah. And I believe it's because I was nice to that lady in the parking lot.
How did you at the end of the day, tie the pieces where it was her that was in the room?
Did you recognize her? Did she
Yeah,
say?
I did. I remember who she was.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, I remember who she was.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I go, "That's the lady." And then when she said it, I was like, "Oh." And then when obviously, if it was my first audition, you know what I mean, at a casting office, she's not going to do that.
Sure.
But I got to the end, and she's just like, you know what I mean?
That's like shit out of a movie, dude.
She recognized the name on the thing, and she probably went, "You know what? I want to see if I can, you know what I mean, push for this guy."
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like, and I used to tell that to the young kids, like at the store. It's like, it's about being funny and being great and this and that, but it's your attitude toward people, anyone, and being nice. You know what I mean?
Well, you've always been so good about that. Even when I first started coming around the Comedy Store.
I know.
Like
I'm the best.
No, really. Like you take a lot of guys on the road and a lot of girls on the road. Just like you were one of the first.
It's fun. It's funny because it's like, I don't want to get into it, but like, I've been, people have tried to cancel me. Mm-hmm. And it's like, they don't know who I am, right? They just know this name, right? And it's like, I'm a lot of things. I mean, I'll admit to things I've done wrong or character defects that I have and whatnot. But that is the one thing I know about myself, is that I don't care what ethnicity you are, or, you know what I mean? You just have to be, to me, funny, right? It's like, I don't bring out people. I've never been a couple people that have hounded me. Mm-hmm. Like,
did I ask you or did you ask me?
I think I asked you.
Huh. What made you want to take
because
me?
you could clearly see it. You reminded me of when I first saw Santino and D'Elia. It's like, it's just when you watch it, you go, "Oh, that's it." Huh. Even though it's younger and not as polished, there's just something about, you know what I mean, the ideas, you know what I mean, in the bits and your point of view, and you're able to perform and not be nervous up there, and you could see it, and a lot of people will argue against some of the names that I'm about to throw out, but I saw it in Jade Catapretta. I don't know why. I just think that she's funny. There's something about her that makes me laugh. I see in, Sarah Tiana back in the day. I used to bring her a lot. You know what I mean? There are just certain names where you got to go, I get what it is. I get who they are, right? Mm-hmm. And it's like, that's it. And there are a lot of people that would bring on the road that people go, "Why are you bringing that person on the road?" I just see something, maybe that you don't see. But it's like, I believe that this person has a future, It's like, I'll bring up a name, Esther Provinsky.
Mm-hmm.
You know, she's not like out there like, you know what I mean, aggressive and, you know what I mean, and just chomping at the bits and destroying, right?
Yeah. She's very unique. Like
That's when you see her, you know what it is. You know that it's an anomaly of some sort. Just about what she looks like, how she acts,
point of view,
everything about her is an anomaly, and it's like, you know, you could be this hacky white guy that's loud on stage, right, and do, you know what I mean, edgy jokes and get laughs at these specific points, you know what I mean, and you can go, well, you know, the crowd reacted, you know what I mean, more to me than Esther, right? But Esther has everything. You don't have it. You know, and it's like, it's something that you can't even if I was to write it down what the formula is, there's no way to do it. You could just see it. Some people just have it, right? But there are those that I would have bet my money that they didn't have it and they still proved me wrong. You have those as well. Sebastian Maniscalco.
I only know him as like Sebastian.
No, I saw him as like, get off.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it's not good, you know? But here's the thing about the guy, right? When I used to see him dressed really quick, he would race into the comedy store with his waiting. He used to wait tables.
Yeah.
Change. Go up on stage. Change. And he would do a set between his shifts, like between his breaks.
Wow.
Right? And then I remember maybe 2 or 3 years in, I remember I had to follow him once. And this is when I knew something was wrong. Because I remember looking at him like, I follow, you know what I mean? And I remember being on stage after him and the crowd going, bring back Sebastian.
Wow.
Right?
Yeah.
And I remember going, oh, right? And then here's another thing that surprised me. One day, this is years ago, he goes, hey, I'm auditioning for the show. I'm not going to get it. And he came over to my house. This is when I was living on Beechwood. And we rehearsed the scene. And I went, I'm not kidding you. I went, oh, this dude can act. Like, he could act. Like, he had everything memorized, but he had made choices that were like, that's the right choice, you know? He didn't get the part.
Yeah.
But you kind of went, oh, this guy is going to be one of those guys that has all of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He has all the elements of being a gigantic star, you know? And then you see people that do it for 30 years and they never make it. And it's like, I think I know why. Do you know why?
What?
When you look at a guy who's like been in it for 30, 40 years and they're still doing it and they go, I don't know, I just didn't have the break. You know what I mean? Or
I don't think they're aware, or like they are not perceiving reality for what it is. It's like they hear a different show than what's going on.
no, they could even be good on stage, right? I mean, you know, you probably don't know, but I know probably 50 men and women who are from the 70s and 80s at the Comedy Store in the heyday. These are all the people that didn't make it, like, but they're still doing it, right? And I don't want to name names because I want to hurt anyone's feelings, but I talk to them. I mean, because in the 90s, they were still around when I started. So they were the ones at the store getting the spots, and then when I grew, they were being weeded out. But they're still my friends and people I looked up to. And it's like I always would look at them because, you know, it's out of your own survival as a young comic. You're like, well, what do I do so I don't end up like that?
Sure. Dude, you walk through that hallway in the Comedy Store, and it's just like a hall of ghosts. You recognize 1 out of every 8 or every 10.
I always try to figure that out. Like, you know what I mean? What went wrong with this? Because he has a good hook. You know what I mean? And then you find out stories, right? Either rumor or whatever, or you know what their behavior is now. You kind of go, if they were like this then, you know what I mean? I can see. But it's like there's always something that happens, right? Or you pinpoint something and you go, I think that was the reason why. You know what I mean? And it's like, I don't want to name his name, but because I don't want like talking down on people.
Well, broad strokes.
But there's a guy. Mm-hmm. He's not even a part of that old generation. He's kind of in between. When I saw him perform for the first time, this is in the 90s, I literally turned to my friend and I said, he was a comic, and I go, should we quit? That's the greatest thing I've ever seen in my life. I mean, that's how good this cat was. Mm-hmm. He was young, hip, right, at the time. Mm-hmm. You know, backward baseball cap, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. He was an ethnic person, you know what I mean? And he would destroy harder than anyone that I've ever seen since, you know, that good, right? And it didn't happen for him. And I'm going to tell you right now, I know exactly the reason why. Okay? Drugs. It's not even a rumor, it's a fact, right? Absolute drugs is the thing that fucked him up, right? If this guy would have, like, back then in the late 90s, his managers and agents are the ones that enabled him. They would still book him on the road. He wouldn't show up, right? Mm-hmm. I would go to clubs, you know, when I started headlining, and they would say his name on a weekend, and they would there was always a question mark, right? Like with me, it's like Bobby Lee weekend, right? His was so-and-so question mark, like as if, is he going to be here, right? Yeah. He's that type of guy. He's the type of guy that, like, will bring sober openers so his managers can get dibs on if he's doing drugs, or, you know what I mean? That kind of thing. If this guy would have just got sober in the 90s, went to a program, did the work, stayed clean, he'd be the biggest star on planet Earth right now with that talent. Yeah. But it just, you know, so that's what I'm talking about knowing where, like, and, you know, I'm a drug addict as well. Mm-hmm. The reason why I'm not doing drugs right now, 2 years ago when I relapsed, I still had my house. I was on a show. They weren't going to fire me. I think they loved me, right? I would show up to everything on time. You know what I mean? But I knew that if this continues, right, 2-3 years, I could see what could happen, right? You could bet your money on it, right? That disaster was looming, not right away, but down the road. So I'm the type of guy that just nips it in the fucking butt. You know what I mean? Like that's it. You know what I mean? I'm not gonna let it go there, you know. And so I've always been able to stay sober because it's like, you know, we're lucky, Fahim. Yeah. Because you get depressed a lot and sad.
No, I don't get that. No. I swear to God, I don't. No. You're just a good soundboard. Like, that's what I've liked about our relationship. Is sometimes I'll be questioning something, and I always love getting your perspective on it. Yeah. Like, remember early on, you probably at that pizza place when you thought I was stiff as a board. One of the biggest things is I would be like, because I just left Boeing at the time, you know? And I just left a corporate job. And I'm doing this full time. Like, I had been doing stand-up since I was 18, but I was always going to college, or I had that engineering job. And then now I was just doing stand-up full time. So I had just, like, left the pool wall, you know? Mm-hmm. And I'm in the ocean now. Yeah. And you have these waves. You get some failures and some rejections, and you're like, do I swim back? And you were kind of on the other side. You just had such certainty when you would talk to me, when we'd be on the road or something. Mm-hmm. You'd be like, you're fine. Like, you don't see it. And we're like, I don't know, though. I just left my job. But because you've seen these steps and you've been through it and you've seen it from people ahead of you, you just had this clarity about it that made it easier for me to kind of, like, carry on. Yeah. Right? Because I was, like, so nervous leaving that engineering job.
Is it because a lot of comics do that? Is it because I'm Asian, though?
No.
No, because I'm not kidding you. Like, there was this girl that was a comic that used to get beat up by her boyfriend, who was another comic. She would, like, comment, like, I'd be on stage at the Improv, and she would walk into the Improv showroom with a black eye and just wait for me to get off stage so she can talk to me. I would, like Esther does that. A lot of people come up to me, right? But I don't really know what I'm talking about. So maybe you shouldn't come to me with those things.
I don't know. I mean, it seemed like good advice at the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think just because
Can we go to a direction where it's...
Was this too much of a? You're the one who brought up the spousal abuse.
No. I'm just saying it's like it's getting to a. Can we come up with an alien scenario, or you know what I mean, or
Yeah, let's do another
some
alien
sort of
scenario.
historical scenario?
What
or,
you got?
Or what do you have?
What do I have?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
You steer it. What's your question?
What about this scenario? I go. Hey guys, I'll give you guys 10 grand.
I'd still let you die.
No, finish. I don't know what it is.
That's so rude.
I'm sorry,
Bro, he's our guest. What are you doing?
Yeah.
But I feel like okay.
How about this?
Yeah.
Okay. I go. There's a road gig, right? But it's like I'm getting 30 grand
Mm-hmm.
in a cash one show, right? And it's like they gave it to me in cash already.
Yeah.
And you do stand up too, right?
No, never done.
Director.
You're a director?
Yeah, director, producer, yeah.
Okay. You have to come. I'll give you 2 grand. You're just coming. You're
Okay.
driving.
Okay,
I rented a car.
sure.
I'll give you 2 grand. I'll give you 12 grand.
Okay.
I keep the rest.
Right.
One show, one night. Would you do it? We're driving. It's in Bakersfield,
Of course.
right?
Yes.
You have to do 25 minutes,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
So I go, hey, we're late. I know this off road. Take a right here. I know a quicker way to get there. So we go onto this dirt road, right? You're on the dirt road, right?
I'm driving.
You're driving, right?
Can I ask you a quick question before you go on with the story?
Yeah.
How are you saying these detailed stories so fast? These scenarios? Are you
I'm
just
making it up.
Okay.
It's not
It's
happened from.
It's impressive.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. And then, so we're driving on the third. We get a flat tire, right? Flat tire. And all of a sudden, like, I don't know what to do. And we're not getting a cell reception either. We're in the desert, like kind of a deserted, right? For some reason, right? I get out, right? We all get out of the car to look at the thing. And for some reason, like, you shut the door. So the door now is like locked. We can't get in even the car. We still have our phones. We got. So we're not, it's dark, right? And I'm like, fuck, I have all this cash. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
This and that. We're walking along. Now we see, you know what I mean? We're on a hill and we can see like a half a mile down. And there's like a street with lights on it. And we see maybe a 7-Eleven or whatever, right? So we're walking along and all of a sudden I go, do you hear that? Right?
Is it the worms again?
Yeah. So it's right. And Phoebe's like, I don't hear anything. Right? I go, nothing, right? And I go, you guys, I gotta pee. Right? So like I'm peeing, right? Right through the fucking right.
Yeah.
Bites of me, right?
Uh-huh.
And he goes, and the little worm before he dies, he says to all of us, he goes, if you don't suck, you know what I mean, the venom out of penis, says to you,
Okay.
Russ, suck the venom out of, you know what I mean, Bobby's
Yeah.
penis. Fahim's gonna die.
Oh shit.
What do you do there?
That's a twist, dude. You've got to suck his dick, man. I don't want to die. I don't want to die, dude.
Yeah.
I'd be like, you don't have to pay Fahim the 12 grand. Give me 5 and we let Fahim die.
You get nothing.
Oh, well.
Because I'm like, come on, you gotta fucking do it.
I'll wait for the other one to get you.
What if-
Well, okay, first of all, can we back up to the car?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd break the window to get into the car.
Yo, how funny. No one thought to break the window of the car. You go straight to sucking dick.
Right, but it's too late. You already made that decision.
Yo,
They're
that'd be,
walking.
that'd be
right?
funny.
Sure.
One of us is sucking each other's dicks, and then they go, "Wait, why can't we just like break the window with a rock?"
We got 30 grand on us.
Yeah.
The window will be like $200 most.
Right. Huh. So,
But okay, in this scenario, I'd let Fahim die. I'm sorry.
now this is the broader question then, okay? And I'm being real.
Okay.
This is the question that I'm trying to get at, right?
Yeah.
Is it a cultural thing to be so homophobic?
What part of that?
It's not. What do you mean homophobic?
Because for me, it's like even, and this is a genuine thing that I'm saying. You should listen to what I'm saying.
Yeah.
This is a genuine fucking thing that I'm saying. And I'm being real, okay? If Brad Williams, right, he calls on Twitter. He says he's a little person, right? Mm-hmm. On Twitter, he goes, "I just got cancer. Mm-hmm. I'm dying, right?" And I text him. I go, "Bro, I heard on Twitter, man. Yeah, come. I want to talk to you. Come over, right?" And I go to his house, right? And I go, "Where's your wife and your kid?" "Oh, they went to the mall." "Oh." He's like, "Hey, man, be dead in 2 months, man. It's like real serious." I go, "Oh, that's too bad." He goes, "Suck my dick, man." Right? Okay. I go, "Why? I'm not gay. You're not gay." He's like, "I just wanted to always know. It's my last final." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I would do it, and I'm not even doing it in a joking way.
If
that's his final wish from me. And there's nothing sexual about it. It's just a flesh.
How is it not?
It's a piece of flesh in my mouth, right?
Yeah. What if he like lives a full life?
Yeah.
And he just played you, like he never even had it.
And how much comedy fodder could we get that on podcast? See, that's what you're missing out on, right? I would do it for the laugh. Because either way, it's funny, right?
Yeah.
Either way, it's funny. That's what my point is, right?
Sure.
It's like you guys.
You do it for the comedy.
I do it for who cares, right? So even in this alien worm, you know what I mean, situation, you would let me and Fahim die because of your manliness?
It's not about my manliness.
What is it about? We're not coming, right? It's not even that erect. We have a little fucking venom inside our penis. Just suck it out of the side.
There's nothing in this world that can have me suck dick for any life. Any saving life, save humanity.
What if you
this is something we should get into.
What if you get canceled just for that statement alone? Like that makes it round on the internet.
Yeah.
It's just like it's you just getting that played on Twitter over and over again.
Yeah.
I will.
So what you're saying to me is this: even if like, are you a religious man?
Yeah, I'm fairly.
So would you say that you're Muslim?
Yeah.
Okay. So Allah, right?
Yes.
Allah came down and goes, "My son." Right? Now I'm being real.
Sure.
My son, right? In order for you to save humanity, you know what I mean? You have to suck Bobby Lee's penis and make him come in your mouth. Would you do it?
No.
Eternity for hell.
I'll take that L. At least I'll go to hell knowing I didn't have Bobby Lee come in my mouth.
That's insane. Do you see how deep it goes?
Yeah.
It's crazy indeed. It's crazy indeed. Yeah.
And for you, I mean,
we're not going on an island or no road trips. I'll tell you that right now.
I'm sorry, man.
You did that. That makes me so upset right now.
But if you ever guys need a driver to Bakersfield, I'm a great wheelman.
For $2,000.
I'm a great. I'll do for $1,500.
What do you keep? Honestly, what's on your phone?
Nothing, man.
Questions? I could create a scenario.
Yeah.
That's not even sexual in any way. Would that make you happy?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. Okay, here we go. Okay.
Let everybody go.
What?
I can't do it.
No, I can do it. I'll just make it up, right? Let's suppose I can't do it.
No.
I think everything's sexual. You know what I mean? Yeah. Huh. Yeah, I can't do it, man. How about this? I got one. To end this podcast,
sure.
Right? Let's end with which is a simple thing, right? Would you rather be blind, deaf, or you lose all 4 limbs?
But you keep your sight and sound.
Yeah, you keep your sight and
hearing.
Hearing. Which one would you take?
Definitely don't want. I mean, nothing against the limbless community, but I feel like those are essential. I would.
I don't know.
You don't think so?
Well, for you love music.
Yes.
Oh damn.
Right.
Yeah.
So I think that's out for you.
I would. Oh fuck! It's tough, man.
Yeah, and then blind. It's like I like watching movies, right?
But can't you just listen to the movie?
But you're also deaf.
Wait,
that was an option,
wait,
right?
Are you saying you're deaf and blind?
No.
Okay.
Oh.
Yeah.
So the first option, it was blind and deaf.
No, blind. Second option, deaf.
Oh.
Third option, limbless. How about this? I'll make a clause. The third option is you can choose one limb.
To lose?
No, you lose
Oh,
3.
you
You
keep
keep one.
one?
Yeah. I think it's a big one.
I'll lose my sight. I'll
You-
give up my sight.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, not me. What about you?
Really?
Yeah.
You don't
Well,
need sight for
well-
comedy.
Well, what about podcasting and stand up? It's such an
If I have one arm, I can do it.
So you take that last option that
My right arm, I keep.
So you would just
It would be a buff arm too. It'd be like, is Sylvester Stallone's arm on Poppy's body? I mean, it would be like
you would rather have that decreased mobility, just have one arm, but you could hear and see.
Yeah, because I saw something on Showtime documentary where this kid has a disease where he's paralyzed from the neck down. I think he has his limbs atrophied, and so he's on his back, and he's in his 20s, and he can go online by like his tongue, maybe doing the keys.
Yeah.
And he met a girl that way.
wow.
And she comes over and she just lays next to him and pets him. You know what I mean?
And
Good
you're
for
like,
him.
that seems nice.
No, what I'm just saying that is you can still like get, if I had one arm, I don't think Kalila would leave. Maybe she would. I don't know.
I don't think she'd leave you.
Yeah. But if she does leave, I can still jerk off.
That's true.
Right? So it's like, if I can jerk off, and I can probably like roll places, right?
Well, no, you could be in a wheelchair and you can like get around even with just the arm. Right?
Yeah.
You don't even need the hose thing.
And also, I feel like if I still had kind of the situation I have now with the amount of money I've saved, I might be able to create futuristic like limbs and stuff.
Yeah.
Yo, what if they just put you on the stool and you use your one arm to hold the microphone?
Yeah.
And you're like, what's up, guys?
Yeah, do you stand up? I can do
Yeah,
stand up.
because you still have your mic hand.
Yeah.
It's not that bad, actually.
Yeah. Just ran a marathon the other day. It took me 9 years.
You go, boy, you go, boy, are my fingers tired.
Yeah. But if blind, right, I can't, you know what I mean, obviously watch anything, right? You can listen to podcasts and narrative form podcasting where you can, or an audiobook, but it's like, I think I would want my eyes and my ears.
I've seen Daredevil. He can get around, like the sonar.
Yeah, I don't know if that was a documentary.
Yeah.
I like to believe. I like to
So
believe.
you're saying
I give up my vision.
your vision.
Yeah.
What are you saying?
I think I'd give up my vision, too.
Your limbs are that important?
Oh, 100%.
To walk around, to
But
be
if you're
autonomous.
blind,
To be autonomous.
Yeah, but-
Fuck,
yeah,
you're
but
right. You're right.
blind,
Then it's
right? So
tough.
you're just you know what I mean?
You get good at it, though,
Yeah.
right? You have the stick.
I mean, it's like you wouldn't be able to know
Here's the
if
thing.
bread's moldy.
What's great about your scenario is that you get to see and you get to hear, but it's like super decreased mobility, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like you have to learn how to brush your teeth all over again.
Okay, I got another scenario. One last one.
Huh.
If you were to choose right now, some demon comes down. It's not sexual.
Okay.
And he goes, I'm Beelzebub from the netherworld. It's like, we know what Beelzebub is. You don't tell me where you're from. That's probably what I'd say.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Obviously, if you're from the netherworld, right?
Yeah.
Well, you're from Bakersfield. You wouldn't say Beelzebub from fucking Tucson.
I like this character,
Yeah.
like the hipster occult guy. He
Yeah,
just
yeah.
knows all the demons.
Yeah.
Of course you are.
Yeah. So you got Beelzebub from you know where, right? And we're like, yeah, in the netherworld, right? And he goes, you have to choose who you're going to be a Siamese twin with, right? Us three, right? It's either you or I attached.
Yeah.
We have you don't have a left arm. I don't have a right arm.
Okay.
Right? We're attached to the shoulders, right?
Yeah.
You don't have a left leg. I don't have a right leg.
Okay.
We have to use both our legs, right?
Yeah.
And we're like that forever. Would you rather be attached to Fahim or me? I already know who you're going to pick. I shouldn't even ask the question. You're right. You know what? Well, yeah, okay. So who?
I have to factor this in. I have to analyze this.
Yeah.
I'd go with Fahim.
I already knew.
Yeah, that's the worst hypothetical
Yeah.
you ever thought of in your life.
Why? Because of your
No.
Because of your ethnicity?
No.
I would think our lifestyles are similar enough where not much would change.
Yeah.
Other than it's a little harder to get around.
Yeah.
You'd probably be doing different stuff.
Okay, let me just change that.
Okay.
Let me change
Sure,
that.
sure.
Forget Fahim.
All right, Fahim's out of here.
All right.
I'm out. See you
Okay.
guys.
All right. See you later. Right. You're not in this scenario. Okay. You have to be Siamese twins with either me or, let me think, Ellen DeGeneres. Now, granted, let me just defend myself real quick, okay? Is that, Ellen would be mean. Like, she just, she doesn't lock eyes with
yeah,
employees.
I mean, I've heard the stories.
She'd be grumpy as
She's
fuck.
like, don't look at me.
Yeah.
You know that 99.9% of decisions, it's going to be her way because she has the money.
That's true.
That she's going to be like, no, we're going to this restaurant.
Yeah.
And you're like, you know what I mean?
How does that work when you're Siamese twins? Is like one of you rich and one of you is poor?
Well, I mean, if we're doing it now, not when you were born that way, but if Beelzebub said.
He's going to join us.
Join us. Yeah, so you're talking about Ellen now, with who she is now.
Right.
Yeah.
And you now, right? And then me now, right? I'll just say something right now, just to because I want it to be me. Let me just, you know what I mean?
Sure.
Try to plead. Number one, I'm generous. Okay. Number two, I'll compromise.
Okay.
Right. Number three, I have a hot girlfriend.
That's right. You got to be heterosexual.
But what does that have to do with me? Right. But okay.
Now we share the same penis though. So it's like, would you be okay if I jerk off? We'll both feel it, but would that be too gay for you?
That'd be very weird. No, the same. Oh yeah, do Siamese twins have? I don't know. But then if it's Ellen, what do we got?
But she doesn't want. But she. Oh, what do you have?
Yeah.
For some reason, it's just a vagina.
Oh.
Right, but she is a lesbian, so
yeah,
you're not gonna think there's dicks going in there.
No, I'll go with you just for the practical reasons. I want to avoid menstrual cycles and stuff.
No, practical.
Yeah. Same scenario. It's you and me.
Yeah, I would do you.
You would do me?
Yeah.
Okay.
Me and you.
You would do you and me.
Yeah. Like, I already know you. We're friends.
Right.
Like, there's a shorthand.
Right.
And
what about this?
Huh.
What if you could do it with, like, he was a beautiful woman. Maybe a beautiful woman right now.
Margot Robbie,
right?
I met her.
Oh yeah, you worked with her.
That Tina Fey movie.
Yeah.
Maybe that's too close to home. Should we pick another?
No, Margot Robbie. I like Margot Robbie. You and Margot Robbie, or me or you, right? Margot Robbie and you get to keep both genitals, all right? In fact, for some reason, your penis is a little longer.
Interesting.
Like Beelzebub goes, I'm gonna do it, right?
Upgrade.
So you could maybe do a U-turn.
Well, here's the thing: just because you can doesn't mean that she is consenting or allowing it. Just because your dick is long enough and can U-turn into it doesn't mean that's gonna happen. Because it'd be even more heartbreaking if I have the anatomy to do that, and she's like, I'm not really that into it.
Well, you wouldn't do it anyway.
Just for the chance that maybe someday she would be into it.
Well, she's asleep. You just go, let's just see what happens.
Well, that's a lawsuit.
You both go to prison then.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
But what if
why would she knock on herself?
That's a good point.
Yeah. What would you know? Okay. Anyway.
Thanks so much to Bobby Lee for coming by. All right. Well, that's it, guys.
All right.
Peace.